Okay, Game Player episode 63. See, this is why I don't wanna call it Auto Slayer. That would be ridiculous. But one thing for sure, shout out to we for that. We need a new name. Mostly because of how when you type in Game Player, you're not gonna find it very quick on YouTube. There are multiple game players unless you type in Game Player Podcast. But we're live. Let me quit this. Again, episode 63. And tonight it's all boys or men.
Hmm. All right.
Um, we're missing a few people. We're missing Viper. We're missing Morgan, and we're missing Kay. But let's make it a show work. Weep, how are you, man? What you been playing?
Good. And yes, I told you you should have named it Other Nation. Yeah, I
We
don't have
will see.
options.
We will see. Other donation, I wanted to do that, but
Yeah, but it wasn't really taken, right? Yeah. Now, I'm good. Finally caught up on some sleep because yesterday turned out to be quite late. I think it was like 5 a.m. Because I
mm,
was watching The Last of Us with the family here. Uh, but
whoop whoop.
whoop whoop, it was fun. Good episode. We're looking forward to the next one because we finally getting to meet Tommy again. So yeah, and as for what I've been playing, I've been playing everything and nothing. I've been mostly playing on my Steam Deck and pretty much only ROMs from from pretty much every system. Just trying to figure out what works and what games I've missed out on. Not many because most good games I've played, but there were a couple of games I knew from the N64 era that I never got around to for good reason. Um, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. I mean, again, I can't uh, recommend it enough if you're into old school games and you want to fork over, I don't know, $200 for a second-hand 2DS, then buy Steam Deck. It runs 3DS games pretty solid. So yeah,
Team decorator, team decorate for the win.
Steam Deck is definitely. Oh, I get. I'm sorry to say this, but at the moment I'm getting more mileage out of it than the Switch.
Mm, damn, I would get more out of Switch than out of an Xbox, but okay. Um, Zarek, what are you playing? And how are you, man?
Oh man, I'm doing good, man. Playing some the same games for spoken and
Let's go.
fantasy.
How far are you?
Um, oh, I'm level 60 right now. On for spoken. Um, I'm level 65 on Final Fantasy 12, and
Yo,
I'm far. I didn't do anything else but doing some other stuff, just trying to level up and do all kinds of stuff. My magic is at 160 something. Oh, both of them.
are
Um,
you planning on defeating Tiamat in
yep,
Final Fantasy?
yep.
Okay, good luck. You already
No,
know. 50 million HP, I think.
no, yeah. I made it to level on the trial mode for level 56. That's the last one I made it to. Oh, also I've been playing. I thank Cyber Dragon for letting me share play with him of Hogwarts.
Oh, welcome, welcome.
Um, and I played that game. I played it. Uh, it's fun. It's a fun game, but that combat is stiff as hell. They need to fix that combat, man.
You're the
Oh,
first person I heard complain about combat. But
it's not,
okay.
it's not the pain. It's what I saw. It's what I feel as I was playing it. I was like, bro, why is it stiff? Why does it feel stiff like this? I was like, bro, what the hell is going on here? So I went back and played it yesterday. Right, I went back and played it, and I was like, okay, it's not too much stiff, but it's like compared to what the first time it was stiff, stiff. It was like just really a tight stiff. But this time it's kind of loosened a little bit. Like I was like, bro, what the hell happened? Like, why is it loosened all of a sudden? I was like, okay,
The
so
flow of the combat in that game is based on how the person has their skills laid out and how you know how to utilize each skill set. That's why the combat is going to change dramatically. If you have a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
random skills or don't understand the skills on each of the bars, then the combat's going to feel weird or slow or whatever. Like it's going to feel that way. The importance of the skills in that game and their flow in combat is something that they teach you as you play the game from the ground up for that reason, because if you just spell sling, like you're not gonna, like nothing's gonna coordinate or work together. So
So you need
that's
to
the problem.
actually combine spells together.
Yeah, like I
yeah,
mean, there's the one that pulls people to you, and then you wouldn't hit them away yet. You would slam them, then you would push them away, then you would, or you slam them and then set them on fire, then push them away. You see what I'm saying? Like there's combinations to each thing, but you won't
Mm.
understand that if you don't play it from the ground up. That's why I said him playing
yeah,
it via share play. I can see why he would think that, because that also depends on um,
Oh yeah, share play and
how he
not
had it.
game shares. That's different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
share
yeah,
play
yeah.
is different. Yeah.
You actually then yeah. It's almost like with Forspoken when you first just jump in, you're gonna be so lost. So it takes a bit of time to get used to it.
no, no, it's not. It don't take me that long to get used to it. I was like, man, I felt the difference as I was first playing it, and when the second time I played it, and I noticed the second time it felt loose. It felt a lot looser, and and I was doing some stuff. And I was like, okay, and it showed me how to do. I was in this tournament or whatever, the fight thing, whatever, and I was like, man, I was like, okay, let me try this out. And I was messing around, man. I was beating the hell out of people. I was like, bro, I was like, man, I said, this is good. This is really good. So it was no longer stiff. It's still there, but it's not like what it was the first time I played it. And so I was like, okay, all right. And I love the adventure aspect of it. I love to travel around. See, I'm never into header power. I was I never read the books nor watched the movies. I watched a little bit of the movie, a little bit, a small bit of it. And book wise, I had to read the book. Which I didn't read the book. The teacher read the book for us, and I was never into it. And so by me coming into it, I was like, okay. And I came with like no expectations. And so as I kept playing, I was like, man, dude, this game is it's really good. It's a really good game. I just um now the voicing and stuff is certain characters. One of the voices didn't match the other character. It didn't match his character. I was like, man, bro, I was like, this is crazy. This
Are
is
you
really
playing
crazy.
as a
But
guy or a lady?
I'm actually what they call it the group Fluffy Puff or something like that.
What?
I'm in Fluffy Puff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um.
Uh,
Okay. Gotcha. Hufflepuff, I think.
It's Hufflepuff.
Yeah, Hufflepuff, not Flufflepuff. I mean,
yeah, Hufflepuff. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. As a huge Harry Potter fan, I do recommend you to watch that movie first, because it it's the world filled to the brim with magic. No pun intended. Um, but besides that, anything else you're playing?
Oh,
Okay,
Huh? It?
gotcha. And then last but not least, innate. Thank you for
Bro,
hosting.
I will be absolutely amazed the one week you manage not to call somebody by the wrong name during intros.
Hey, screw you,
Every time. Every time.
screw you.
Like, you got one job.
I
You ain't even hosting.
say,
You could just look directly at the chat and you would still say the name wrong.
yeah. Speaking of the chat, my chat is all the way blank, or rather, just flat out a black screen. Is
Well,
that
that's what you get when you're late, dude.
for real though? Nate, do you have any access to our chat?
I'm in chat right now.
I can't see a single thing. I'm afraid
Okay, I don't know what to
to.
tell you.
I'm afraid to call it
How about let's
to.
not, and I'll just tell you if somebody said something in chat because
Okay,
I don't.
I'm gonna
I'd
open a
rather your
different.
machine not explode.
Yeah. Oh damn!
Yeah,
That I felt that personal. I took that personal. But okay, what are you playing, man? And how are you?
I'm good. Um, yeah, I mean, right now, obviously, uh, been back and forth on the timeline, um, with playing Hogwarts Legacy, enjoying the hell out of it. I've been playing it with
Morgan?
our two missing girls, uh, Morgan and Kay.
Oh,
Kay when she
one
can.
sec. 1 second. 1 second. What? We're not live. Oh, no, no, no. We are. Sorry.
Bro, you gotta
YouTube
stop.
is weird. YouTube is weird.
I
We
know
we,
we're
we told you
live.
not.
I just told
No,
you.
yeah, 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 I know you just told me, but when I went to my channel,
So stop
official
basing
channel.
it off of what you are seeing because I don't have that problem. I told you we're live. Anyway, like I was
Okay,
saying,
gotcha.
I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy and enjoying the hell out of it. Been playing with the our two missing girls, as well as Fox. Um, we've all been enjoying it thoroughly. It looks like we're all getting to about mid late game, um, getting to that cleanup stage where you start double checking things that you haven't done, and whatnot. But overall, I mean, the game has been a lot of fun. Um, like I said, it really opens up the more spells you learn, uh, the more combat you kind of get exposed to. It's just overall, like I said, it's just been a solid RPG, all around. So I'm not mad at it. Um, the base story is actually kind of interesting because you kind of get a sense of how everything comes together. So I thought the side quests were actually done pretty well. Um, that's been probably the best surprise so far. As far as like what they call the relationship side quests, where it's related to a lot of the characters that surround you in the school and are kind of more involved with the character. So those have been pretty interesting without really giving anything away. Um, it's the rest of it, still playing through Fire Emblem Engage, which again just got its second wave of DLC, which
Yeah,
I'm
few
happy with
DLCs.
because the rings in the game are a requirement. So having more emblems uh, doesn't hurt, especially ones that are DLC that don't count towards the enemy being able to take from you during some story segment. So that's helpful, and I like the characters that they introduced. So um, that's been fun trying to get that completed and still playing through that. And like I said, that's still a whole lot of fun. Um, but yeah, it's mainly just been like nonstop Hogwarts. Like the game is just massive, um, and just playing that, trying to get through that.
So it tells me it's not one out of 10.
Yeah, definitely not 1 out of 10. Not
Gotcha, gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha.
not so far. So far for me, it's about a 8.5 to a 9. So they really did a good job. especially with the atmosphere. That's probably the biggest thing. Like it really feels like you're
Uh,
part of that world, which is pretty much the key to the Hogwarts world. So the Wizarding world. So
so I spoke with you about it off air. Um, you told me that there is no consequences for using dark spells, like for example Hufflepuff or Gryffindor. Do you think that work in favor or against it?
no, I prefer it that way because honestly, they don't really do anything. Like I mean, they're just another form of powerful spells. I prefer it that way. I don't want it interfering in the main because they're completely optional. So you could
Mm,
go through the game and not even learn them. You could just say no the first time and then just not even continue on it. So yeah, no, I prefer it the way that they have it. I hate when something is cool or potentially powerful, and you get like this. No, 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 you can't have that because it's bad. Like that actually annoys the shit out of me. So I much prefer the kind of oblivious take that everyone else has around you. Plus, a lot of people don't see you fight anyway, so it's like it's not like they would know. Um, like very few people in the school, like they would have to actually see you cast it to even know you knew it, which actually makes sense. So I think it's actually more fitting that it doesn't really affect anything because the only people that know are the people that basically acquired the magic with you. So yeah, I think it affects the story appropriately enough. It affects that specific story. Um, but yeah, it not affecting the main part. Yeah, I don't really care because, like I said, they would have to see you cast it to begin with, and half the time that I'm playing, I don't even really use it like that. It's powerful, but I rarely use it, and then when I do, I'm usually by myself anyway. So it actually, like I said, it actually fits quite well.
but okay, so okay. As for me, I finished Axiom Verge 2. I had blast with this one, and I started. What game did I start? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Salt and Sanctuary. So get this. It's a Soulsborne game. It's an indie game, and at the same time, it's also a Metroidvania. And that's my appetizer. Cause hopefully in a few days, I'm gonna be able not only jump in into Hogwarts Legacy, but also One Piece is gonna be available for me and Chained Echo. So I really wish I could clone myself
Mhm.
or split myself a la Volmod. Because the amount of game I'm gonna be able to have access to is gonna be insane. But yeah, I think okay. So more about Southern Sanctuary. There's actually a second game that came out 2022. It's right now on discount for play on PlayStation for $8. So I absolutely recommend you picking that one up. I picked the other one for $5, the one I'm playing, and I recommend it, especially if you're a fan of Metrovania and Soulsborne, because it actually combines the two genres and make it one. And if if I'm correct, I think that's the first one to do so. Even Dark Souls is usually just you go to an area, open an area up, clear the room, and kill the boss, unlock shortcut, and call it day. With this one, actually, your progression, you gain new abilities. Like for example, I just unlocked the ability to uh, flip upside down, and that allowed me to go to a certain new areas. I'm playing. So get this. I'm playing as a mage, but I'm wielding a great sword. Let that sink in. So yeah, that's that. I do recommend it, but that's about it. Let's just jump to the topic. And the first topic we're gonna talk about, everyone here, we watched Nintendo Direct. Um, and Nate, how was it for you?
I mean, I'm not as enthusiastic as some people were uh, about it, but I mean, it
It
was
was boring.
yeah. I mean, it was largely boring to me, obviously, because I fell asleep. Um, because in
Hold
Tibet,
on, hold on, hold on. That's a you problem.
oh, it is a
You
you.
don't get
It is.
enough sleep.
Oh no, it is. It is. I mean, he said, "What did I think, sir?" See, no, but yeah, if they would have gave me some of that, the problem with Nintendo is they always like to show me all the shit that I'm not interested in at first, and then they put all the interesting shit at the end. So then I'm usually asleep, and then I
Yeah,
have
yeah, I'm
to,
still fell asleep, eh? That's the
yeah,
crazy part.
yeah, I have to usually go back and then see, oh, they actually did announce something I'm interested in, So I'll usually see it later. But yeah, I mean, judging it overall, even for the things I'm personally not interested in, I mean, I would say it was probably like a solid 8. Um, the reason I don't give it higher is because I don't, un, unlike some people on my timeline, I don't give them credit for bringing back Golden Sun because it's behind that stupid ass paywall of
Oh yeah.
the stupid hey we're gonna give you these games but you got to subscribe to this ridiculous tier of online like
Is that
no.
not smart
I mean
play? That's actually smart.
I mean it could
That's
be
not.
yeah, it could be smart for whoever but I'm not they're not getting me with that nonsense. Like I asked for Golden Sun to be on the Switch, not for it to be some back end emulation that I could just run on my computer anyway. So yeah,
Fair,
so
fair,
yeah, no.
fair.
Um, so yeah, so they get zero credit or 0 points for that. Um, as far as like what interested me overall, um, I mean obviously the DLC for Fire Emblem Engage, uh, them giving us the full layout for that, um, us finally getting a release date for Advance Wars after waiting a freaking entire year, um,
Oh
for
yeah.
no damn reason. I wish they were just honest about the reason instead of them trying to be politically correct and just be like, "Look, the game wasn't ready." And I'd be like, "All right, cool. I get that." Like they didn't
Like,
huh?
there's a war going on around the globe at any moment. Like, so they could have released it at no time. If that was really the excuse.
Well, exactly. And that was my thing. I was like when they said that, well, war's happening, so we're not going to release it. I was like, "Okay, so we're never getting this game is what you mean?"
Wait,
Because
Exactly.
wait, wait, hold up. Did they actually delay a game
Yes.
because of the
yeah,
war?
yes.
It was.
That's what they
Holy,
stated
yeah,
because of
yeah,
because of the
no,
war going on in Ukraine. They delayed
nah,
it.
nah, that's stupid. I'm sorry, that's stupid as hell.
Well, that's why
Well,
that's why I said I don't believe it because at any given time frame, like we said, there's always a war. There was like 97 revolutions happening, like all the time.
yeah,
Like there was a whole bunch of stuff before that one spat between Ukraine and Russia was happening. Like there was like civil unrest all around the EU.
yeah.
Like it was crazy.
Where is the delay for game because of the Middle East? Like,
But that's what I'm
never
saying.
heard of that.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, that's nonsense. I was like, just tell me the game wasn't ready. We'll call it a spade, but it is what it is. We finally got a release date. So, I mean, I'm cool with it. Cuz I'm not in a rush. I'm drowning in games right now.
Yeah,
Um
and that
the
Mega Man, what call it?
Well, yeah, but I'm picking that up on Mega Man Battle Network. I'm picking it up on PS5. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean it was cool that they gave out an updated trailer and stuff like that. But um, again, they don't. I mean, they showed it, so cool, but they don't really get credit because it's. I mean, it's not theirs. So, but I'll pull it up right now. So I actually added it to the list. So there it is on screen for
What
anybody who
about the
missed it.
Tear of Kingdom?
What about what?
Tear of the Kingdom, the main
I'm gonna be honest.
what
The
you
only
call it?
reason I will even purchase Zelda is if Priscilla wants to play it. That's the only reason I plan to even play it.
Mm,
Mainly because honestly, I don't. Looking at the trailers, I honestly don't see what I'm supposed to even be playing outside of like a potential sequel to Breath of the Wild. I don't know. Like the sequel is kind of it's a I don't know how to word it. Like when like they show you a movie trailer, but it's cut up too much, so you don't really
You,
know what's happening.
you know what I call it? DLC.
okay, so real talk though, where is the realty comment? I haven't seen any.
Well, it only applies to PlayStation, Omar. You
Yeah,
should know that. But
Okay, I apologize, I apologize.
yeah. I mean that's what it
Um,
looks like. But like people are already like, game of the year, game of the year, and I'm just like, what? Where? Like I
I,
haven't. I still don't even know exactly what's happening in this game
I
entirely.
think
What's
it's
new?
okay.
What's
I,
exciting about it?
I understand why. I understand why. Because of the previous game.
overrated.
Definitely overrated.
Hey, to each their own. But I understand the comment. I've seen some new skills. I like. All I care about, did they remove the weapon uh,
But that's what I'm
durability?
saying. We still asking questions, and this game is about to come out. That's what I'm
You,
talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah. That
they
that
ain't gonna change that.
if they not gonna change that, then it's gonna be dog shit. I'm sorry.
You now have a car though, so that's new.
Hey, what up, C Fresh and Stardust?
Sassy fresh, Tata. Sadly, I can't see any of your tweets. Give me a second. I will look. I went. I will go to the main channel.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, it was cool that they brought in Pikmin as well. I mean, I mentioned that,
Yeah,
but
it's
that's not
releasing the
something.
7th.
Yeah, that's not something. I mean, I'm not gonna pick it up mainly because the last Pikmin I was excited for, I literally bought it and did not play it. So I just accepted that it's a cool concept I'm just
How?
not gonna play.
How are you
Um,
gonna buy something and not play it? Not
because
enjoying it.
I
Okay,
didn't.
I get. But you
I
got.
mean, I mean, Omar. I mean, I still have White Knight Chronicles in plastic for the PS3 and never played it.
Yeah.
Nah,
Yeah. So
both of you are weird. I would. I no way. Okay, okay, okay. That weird. What your thoughts on that police game that animated and lo- almost have and it kind of
Yeah,
remind me of
I know what you're talking
Persona.
about. I mean,
It's in
it looks
PlayStation 5 and Switch. It's not on Xbox nor PC, which that I found weird.
I mean, it looks interesting, but I mean, I need to see more. I'm kind of uh I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the game aesthetically. I'm it looks okay. If anything drew me in, it'll be the game itself with
Mm,
the fact that it's turn-based combat and
it
that the
it's
world and
not.
stuff looks like it might be interesting.
It's not. It's not turn based. It's actually real time, but turn based, kinda like Nino Kuni. That's how it is.
It looked turn-based when they showed it, so I don't know. But
I remember it not being turn based. Okay, we will see. I will look
I
it up
mean,
later.
it's on the screen right now, so
Oh,
I mean, it looks like they just might be able to move around, but it still looks turn-based.
Okay, gotcha. I
Yeah.
thought it, what you call it, Nino Kuni, but I
But
gotcha.
yeah, that was one of the more interesting things they showed. Um, I mean, it's definitely not something I don't, unless there's absolutely nothing else out and I'm literally playing nothing. It's just not something that I see particularly getting day one, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that excited. Like, I think some people are looking at it and they're excited partially because it reminds them aesthetically of Astral Chain in a way. So I think that's got some people excited on my timeline. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Sea of Stars was also shown. But again, yeah, this is why I said like it was an eight. You know, they showed it. These games were filler, but um, again, Sea of Stars is another game that I'm extremely excited about. But again, has nothing to do with Nintendo specifically.
Have
So
you played the demo,
There is
Nate?
a demo. There is for written demo and for Octopath Traveler 2. Sadly, they are both demo on the Switch, but for PlayStation only Octopath Traveler 2.
yeah, no, no, I haven't had time to play it right now, but I have it
Oh,
down. I have it
I
downloaded.
did. I did. It was pretty good. The sort of they give you the basics then, and then they move forward to a later stage, and you can do a boss battle and things like that. So it's
How
kind of
about
good
the
to give
demo?
you. Huh?
I will get to you. I will ask you about the demo.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that's really just about it. I mean, I wasn't. I like I said, I completely get why. I still, like I said, I still gave it an eight. Basing it on stuff that I'm personally not interested in, but I mean, I know they're good games. I know people freak the hell out over whatever the
Tears of
Metroid,
the Kingdom.
whatever.
Tears of the
Um,
Kingdom.
no, not Tears of the Kingdom. Honestly, no, nobody on my timeline was even talking about that. Like they,
Uh,
like
yeah, mine there were. I think most of the things that people were excited about was the Metroid Prime. I think
yeah, that's what I
Prime.
just said. I was saying Metroid, but you were talking about Tears. I was saying Metroid is what I've seen. Metroid is what people are playing. Metroid is what people are talking about. That's all I've seen. Like I
I
saw maybe one or two tweets referring to Zelda, but again, most people couldn't say shit because they don't know shit. So, like that's the reality of it. Outside of people just being in general hyped for another Zelda game, like there was nothing for them to really talk about.
mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
I did see shit ton of almost like comparison between Tears of the Kingdom and Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts.
that's
Yeah,
fair.
because of the car
Yeah,
platform thing. Yeah, seen it too.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, that's about it for me. It wasn't that deep, but it wasn't bad either. Uh, like I said, I don't. It could have definitely been a 9 or a 10 with certain things if they would have just done it a little differently. Like I said, with Golden Sun, actually coming to the Switch rather than that online nonsense. But it is what it
okay.
is. It's Nintendo,
What you
so
thought? What you thought on Nintendo actually putting some effort with their what you call it emulation
effort how.
and bringing back old games like Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color and all the jazz.
I mean, to me, they're not really putting in an effort to me because they're not bringing it to the system. They're bringing it to this online emulation where I have to, I'm subject to being, paying an increased tier, being locked into a service. Like they're not offering me any form to actually own that game.
To
So
be fair, isn't that not what PlayStation is doing?
doing with what? I can purchase any of those games that I wanted
Oh
without the
wait,
service.
so with Nintendo it's only
You
emulation?
cannot purchase it.
Oh, I had no idea. That
That's why I
changes
said. That's why I said
so
I hate that.
like
Like,
yeah, no, that's an L.
yeah, but people get excited because it's something to look forward to. And I put in tons of hours in Golden Sun. I've been as excited, as the next person that they finally brought it back in some capacity. But I mean,
I,
it's all
I,
it's
I told you that
lazy.
this week, Omar, right after the direct. But you weren't paying attention again. Jesus Christ.
You got to tell Omar at least 3 or 4 times.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, that's my biggest problem with it is like, but again, it's not gonna ever be brought up as a problem because the majority of Switch fans or people that subscribe to that are just gonna suck it up and eat it anyway. That's all I saw on my
Mm,
time. Like, oh my God, I can't believe they bringing this back. Oh, they bringing this back. They doing that. Like people are like too whimsical and overly excitable to just like look at it objectively, and it's like we really just gonna let them not actually bring it back and just you know bait us with this $60 plus online or whatever, and these I don't know that practice with Nintendo gets on my last nerve.
Steam
gotcha,
Deck,
gotcha,
baby.
gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'll emulate it on PC or something before I even bother with that. Like I'm never subscribing to that nonsense. So
Gotcha.
yeah, that's it.
Okay, the Rex, my man. What's your thoughts on Nintendo Direct? Did you watch it?
No, I was at work.
Okay,
I was at work, but I didn't see
okay.
nothing. I didn't go
Then,
back in one.
then I will skip you. Weep. What about you?
10 out of 10.
Oh shit.
Well, here's the thing. I really liked it, but for the games that I'm interested in. I mean, yeah, like Nate said, finally getting a release date for Advance Wars, so I went ahead and pre-ordered that right away. Pikmin 4, also, and yeah, Metroid Prime. Even though I did play it on the GameCube, but this remake looks or remaster, whatever you want to call it, looks really good. Like they put in more effort into that one than they did with the Skyward Sword re-release, and that was like $60, and this is like $40.
Yeah,
So yeah, this is looking really good, and I'm gonna get physical, of course, because you don't really buy digital on Switch. If you actually are a Switch owner. Um, but yeah, they released that I think in Europe like in the 3rd of March or something. So I have to wait a bit there, but it's fine because Ishin's coming out as well. 1.5 weeks, so I'm good there. And of course the biggest reveal there was the Bob and Kaitos collection, which is the hidden gems of the GameCube, the duology of probably the best JRPG on the GameCube that probably nobody played. Um, so I was considering replaying in those, but or at least the original one because the sequel or prequel technically never came out in Europe. But now I'm gonna wait until they release it. I hope it's gonna physical release, but I think so. But yeah, that really made the show for me because those two games coming back, which are pretty obscure, I guess, that they made the effort to remaster those games and re-releasing them. That really gets me excited. So yeah, that definitely made the show for me. Yeah, this kind of thing like with Nintendo, aside from a few marquee titles like Bayonetta and like Metroid Dread, it doesn't really capture me as much with new releases. It's like Mario Odyssey, but like another fan of the new direction Zelda's going, and games like what you call it, uh, that Squid Girl game.
Yeah.
are you
Uh,
excited for that Bayonetta spin-off almost?
no. That kind of. I think they announced that like last time, and I was like, "Oh yes, it's gonna be another Bayonetta." No, it's the spin-off. So, no, I really wanted one Bayonetta 4. So this doesn't excite me. I mean, I might cop it if it's you know, if impressions are good, but I'm totally not interested in it for the moment. I mean, that's not why I play Bayonetta games. Um,
Gotcha.
but yeah, I mean, that does look promising in terms of really hoping that they're going to re-release more uh, older games, giving them that sort of Metroid Prime treatment. I kind of interested in seeing if they're actually gonna also re-release the 3DS games, though. I can imagine that's gonna uh, take more work because of the dual screen feature of those games, and see how they can adapt those for the Switch since it only has one screen. Though, if you want to get some pointers, just look at the Steam Deck. That's perfectly capable of rendering 3DS games, and you can put the screen configuration in whatever way you want. So that's absolutely great. Um, I'm not being paid by Valve, by the way. I just love my Steam Deck uh, so much because of the emulation option. Um, which is also, yeah, like Ine said, I'm absolutely against the way Nintendo is doing that. That they had the virtual console like in on the Wii, I think the Wii U as well, and there you could just buy your games, and that's how it should be, because you don't have to pay a subscription service just to play classic games that that should like cost you $1 or something, and you don't own. So I mean that's also the stupid thing that I always hate, that when you stop paying for the subscription service, you're essentially you lose access to those games. And Nintendo's has clearly the worst subscription service of all of them, because basically their online sucks the most. It's the cheapest, but still, and they figured out, okay, yeah, we can just make them. I think they started this entire tiered subscription thing, that Sony's also now doing, and they make it work by just paywalling all their classic games behind the premium version of their subscription service. So yeah, that didn't get me excited that they were adding Game Boy.
To be fair though, you have what you call it, um, a Steam Deck, so you're set.
I'm sad. Yeah, I mean, all those like Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games, they're so easy to come by if you know where to look at. You don't really need to pay for that.
I mean,
It,
let's
it
be real. Most people have like an iPad or something, so you don't
yeah,
specifically need a Steam Deck to
no,
emulate
no,
stuff.
no.
Yeah.
Those games run on everything now. It's
Yeah.
just the only reason why I would say recommend it. It's basically uh, it's sort of like the same form factor as the Switch. So you basically have sort of an ideal handheld with the option to
Paired with the
uh,
emulation.
yeah, with the emulation, yeah, and
Yeah.
you can put everything on there, so it's not restricted to yeah, Nintendo in that case, and it has a power to run recent games at at least in the handheld format. So um, yeah, I mean, but again, it's nice to have. I agree. If you have a good game PC and just hook it up to your TV, and you don't care for the handheld feature, you're good too. Of course.
Yeah.
Um,
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
I think we,
Okay.
I think we lost the rec, by the way.
Sorry?
I think we lost the rec.
Yeah, yeah. So he said as the following.
You're good.
I'm going to head out. I got to do something. So peace, everyone. Shout out to the rec.
Okay.
Was short and sweet. As for me, how do I say this? I look. It was boring. Look.
My man, no, don't do this.
No. Look. Games that they showed that I'm excited about. I am excited about the one that I have access to. Like I've said it off air, and I'm gonna say it on air. I believe. I not believe. I know for sure, for a fact, I'm gonna have more enjoyment and games to play on a Switch than an Xbox. That's
Yeah, that's
not an,
easy.
that's not what you call it, a job. That's genuine reality. Um, a lot of games that I saw, I'm like, okay, I would play them. Like for example, that Kirby game, I would absolutely play that. Um, Pikmin would be my favorite Pikmin, but I love the concept. I always have. Tiny Kin was a great game I enjoyed, and I even said Kana have a resemblance to Pikmin, the way you uh, control your rod. Um, I was truly surprised that Tears of the Kingdom is coming out before Pikmin, and yet we see more of Pikmin than we saw from Tears of the Kingdom. That's where I'm like, come on, Nintendo, what's up with that? Um, Finding out that games like the Game Boy Advance and the Game Boy and all that jazz is only downloadable, that took me out of the loop completely. Um, Besides
I mean,
that,
I mean
yeah,
only on online, right?
sorry,
You said only downloadable.
I need to be online. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, okay, yeah.
The issue is it's just Nintendo is so behind the eight ball when it comes to their online infrastructure. Not only that, they don't even have trophies or voice chat support. I think dedicated voice chat support. So clearly they need to do some additional work. Um, okay, real talk, and this is not enough to the. Well, it actually, I'm curious what you guys' opinion. Before the Nintendo Direct got announced, oh no, 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 before the Nintendo Direct actually happening, it, there was a leak that Tears of the Kingdom is gonna be $70, and I think no, I know for a fact people talked about that more than they talk about the actual show. So let's jump to the elephant in the room. Should Tear of the Kingdom be $70?
I mean,
Mind you, I'm gonna say it and then you're gonna do your thing. Mind you, this is I don't consider the Switch a next gen. It's not a next gen.
It is.
Uh, it's how strong is the Switch?
Yeah, but
he's
that
talking
doesn't
about
determine.
when it came out. It's next
Yeah,
gen.
exactly.
It's in the order of the system that it came out. It's their eighth gen system or whatever.
Okay, so it's PlayStation 5 then.
Yes,
Okay,
it's because the Wii U was so bad. But yeah, regardless, it's that's why it's that.
how strong is it though?
I mean,
What you
it's
compare it to a PlayStation 4 or 3?
uh,
Three.
yeah, probably like a three.
3. Okay. The whole. So here is the thing. Here is the biggest issue with Nintendo going $70. They hardly ever go in price with their sales.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like the issue is no longer about them going $70. The issue is about going $70 when they don't even need it.
Yeah, I mean
They
the games maintain the $60 price tag or 57 their favorite sale price 57.99 for
yeah,
years.
for five,
So
7 years.
yeah,
So that's the like PlayStation and Xbox. At least with them, you wait. you're gonna be able to get the game cheaper. But with Nintendo, there is nothing called cheaper. The game can be 5 years to 7 year old, and you still need to fork $70 to $60 for it.
Yeah, most likely. At the very, very best case scenario, is several years down the line, you might be able to catch one of the games on sale for 40 to 45. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's rare. You're gonna get it cheaper if it's not third party. As long as it's first party,
but
yeah.
this game should be in the 10 to 20 maximum because they're literally 10 years, 5 years, 7 year old.
Yeah, but they
Um,
they know they can get away with it. They know
yeah, yeah,
when
yeah,
they got
yeah,
new people
yeah.
purchasing Switches, they know, hey, these people are gonna be a sucker, and they're gonna go get all the games that they didn't have already, like Mario Party or whatever, like Mario Kart, um, Smash Bros. Like they Zelda. They know pretty much on site someone's gonna pick up 2 to 3 of those games. Pokemon. It's just, I mean, it's the nature of understanding the beast, right? Like, let's be real. The reason it's $70 is because they know they can. Do they need it? No, they don't need it. But they know that Zelda fans, honestly, the game could have been $99, and Zelda fans still would have purchased it.
Oh yeah,
So,
absolutely. Um, the issue I have two issues with this one. One, you're not offering me anything new for $70.
oh no, but it's Tears of the Kingdom, so that's good. That should be good enough for you.
And two, which is what I said, is your games hardly ever go on sales and hardly ever go deep sales. Like no, 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 they never go deep sales. That makes that one thing straight. It almost feels like how to say not unfair because it's business, but more like where is the outrage? I've seen more people outraged about PlayStation going 70 than I've seen with Nintendo going 70.
That's because
Why
that's because
PlayStation
that's
is
because it's always PlayStation's fault. That's the era we're in right now. This game is on everything but Xbox. It's PlayStation's fault. This game is on everything but this. It's PlayStation's fault. It's always PlayStation's fault.
oh yeah that police game that's from level 5. There are actually people that are saying that PlayStation paid to prevent this game from hitting Xbox.
Absolutely
Des-
not.
Despite the fact that this game was announced at a Nintendo Direct,
But it's PlayStation's fault though. I told
but
you.
it is PlayStation fault.
I told you. That's the solution to everything that they can't have. Why that's the solution. Why it's not on Game Pass is because it's PlayStation's fault. It's always it's that's it's a running joke at this
Now
point.
we're gonna talk about why it's not on Game Pass. That's the main topic of this today's video. Okay. Um, mm, anyone have anything else to say when it comes to this whole $70? Is it justified? And do you think?
Well, it
Yeah,
it's
go
it's
ahead.
not it's not that justify anything. It's just this was coming, right? I mean, as soon as I think it was Take Two started, and then PlayStation announced that they were going to do it, and then Xbox finally followed suit, and then Nintendo was going to do it anyway because they see they could get away with it. That's why they did it. That's the only reason.
Yep.
And so I can't blame them for doing that because they see people are willing to pay for that. They see that price point is not going to be a deterrent for people to buy the game, and it's not going to affect sales. So, you know, if people are willing to pay that for it, fine. And look, here's the thing: like, look, we haven't seen much, but if it's going to be similar to Breath of the Wild, I mean, like, it's not for me, but I know People love it. It's a massive game, so you're gonna get your money's worth, right? So whether you pay 60 or 70, um, so uh, that's the only thing there is to it. I mean, you can complain about the yeah that Nintendo games don't go down in price that often. Yeah, sure, it's a thing, but I mean that's you know I guess how strong Nintendo's sales are. I think it's also due to the cartridges. They also have quite a lot of collector's value, so you can also get a lot of money back when you sell them. Um, and yeah, about features. I mean, like I think we had this discussion after the direct about where you said like the PlayStation adds features to it, so it warrants a $70 price, and I'm like, yeah, but it's not really uh, if you're adding features, but I didn't ask for them, it's not really that I should basically be paying more for it, right? That isn't really fair because then I should have the option
When
to not have the features, right?
I have a question though then to you. When have we ever been able to control what t-shirt we want or don't want in a next gen?
Yeah, we don't, but that's the entire point. What I'm making is like that's not an excuse to gouge up the price. Sony also did the same reason why Sony increased the price for their games is because they could get away with it. They thought, okay, they did their research. They knew that increasing the price to that price point is not going to uh, hurt their bottom line. It's going to increase their margins. And that's the only reason they did that. They didn't do that because they had to. It's not that they couldn't afford to make games otherwise. It's not that they felt like they were owed that. It's just that they did it because they could get away with it. It's that simple. And as long as we as gamers are able to pay that, we're good. I mean, at some there's always an upper limit. I mean, when games start to be sold at $100 or something, then they will notice a drop in sales because fewer people can afford them. I mean, at that point, like you're almost twice as much as the original price. Yeah, then you're gonna notice a drop in sales. So I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. But there is really no other reason than they do it because they know they can do it. They can get away with it. There's and
Okay.
it's business. That's the only reason they're doing it. It's not again, I would prefer to pay less. And I mean, Omar, where everybody else complained about 70, we're complaining about €80 because we're paying 70 for the entirety of the last generation. Uh,
Mm,
but it is what it is, right? I mean, yeah, I mean, we can go on the street, can boycott gaming, but I don't think that will increase our enjoyment of gaming because then we wouldn't be able to play games. So
gotcha.
yeah, that's all it is.
Um, Nate, what's your thoughts?
I
You
mean,
just
I think it's pretty obvious. I mean, they're making the jump because, like I said, they know people will purchase it regardless. I mean, they specifically chose Zelda of all things to make that jump and make that distinction. Um, so, I mean, clearly it's not because even at the behest of some of the other stuff where people are like, game development has gotten more expensive, because of the new tech and all the stuff we have to incorporate, blah, blah, blah. Clearly, that's not the case for them. So, yeah, I mean, they're ultimately just upping the price because, fucking why not? Like we've said, they can get away with it. They know they can, and so they're going to do it. Um, and I mean, ultimately, like I said, I mean, if I'm going to purchase it, uh, even if it's for Priscilla, I mean, I'm gonna purchase it at that price point, um, and it
Mm,
won't be whether or not I think it's worth it. Because I mean, I probably
you have
won't.
no other choice, right?
Yeah, there's no other choice. Like, there's no alternatives. Like, other than you having like discounts at stores already from other games. Like maybe you got because somebody asked me that. They said like I guess in the EU there's a lot of options for getting games cheaper. Um,
that's true. Yeah,
yeah, and I was like, well, yeah, that's not really the case here. I was like, all the mainline stores basically carry it at the default price, and it is what it is. Unless you have like Best Buy, you get basically the way you get stuff on Stars or whatever for PlayStation. You get enough points, you can turn it in for a $20 gift card, $5 gift card, stuff like that. Um, Kind of get away with that. That's the only real way you're getting any money off of it. Otherwise, you're paying max price. So yeah, I mean,
That's
it's not
good.
even complicated. It's because it's Zelda. They chose the timing the same way that Microsoft chose the coming of Starfield to say that they were going $70.
Real talk, I comment about that and I said Microsoft have absolutely zero right to charge 70 because they haven't produced anything that's worth 70.
No.
Okay. I think we covered this one enough. Let's jump to the final topic, which is gonna be a big one. So basically, this week we found out that um, give me a second so I pick it up. No. So so this week CMA officially rejected. It's not to say as a rejection. So the UK government competition and Market Authority (CMA) has said that Microsoft and Xbox acquisition of Activision Blizzard could harm gamers, and they basically said almost called Microsoft a bluff. Remember, Microsoft said they are going to put Call of Duty on everything. They
Yeah,
even did that stunt where they said that they gonna put it on Nintendo on Switch or Nintendo.
they did say that.
Um, the thing at hand is they even said Activision doesn't have any important IPs, and they play dumb when it comes to Call of Duty, not knowing how much worth it is, or what it does, and all that jazz. So TMA were like, okay, if you don't care about Call of Duty, then in order for this deal to go through, you need to remove Call of Duty out of the deal. And we all know Microsoft is now in a tough situation. Because remember, not only EU said no, now CMA said no. And it's not an outright no, it's a very difficult no. And we have also, what you call it, Australia, and I'm expecting them to say no as well. The question then remains is can Microsoft salvage this and would they accept a deal, what you call it, a deal without Call of Duty?
I mean, the reality is people keep saying all these other reasons that they really want Activision, and that it basically has very little to do with trying to get ahead in gaming. Um, I've
That's
heard
bullshit.
I've heard, they want the mobile division from King, on top of um, the advertising business for Activision, so on and so
That
forth.
can be the case, but that's not the main case. The main case is Call of Duty and Game Pass.
Well,
We know it, you know it.
I'm not even just gonna say Call of Duty, because I don't think it's just Call of Duty, because Diablo has become a much bigger franchise since it got on consoles last year, or the last release. Like Diablo 3 was huge. A
I
ton of
feel
people are
you.
looking forward to that, and that being on Game Pass is massive.
I feel you, but I don't think even. Okay, then let me ask you this: do you think Microsoft gonna buy complete the deal without Call of Duty?
No, never.
Mm, I mean, I don't think so, but I mean, if they Except this is if what they're saying is true, because they're trying to act like Call of Duty is unimportant. Yet, like people keep saying other things, right? Like I heard the people are like, oh well, COD is not really the focus for them, or this, that, and the third, and I'm like, yeah, and they're like, yeah, they were like, I keep seeing Xbox fans, like I don't know what Xbox fan. This is why Xbox fans get on my fucking nerves. People like this that are Xbox fans that spout misinformation, stating that oh yeah, I don't see the big deal anyway because it should have gone through because Microsoft was just gonna leave Call of Duty on PlayStation anyway. And they were like, the only reason for the 10-year deal is because you had to put something on paper. And I was like, no, that is not the reason for the 10-year deal. I was like, no one is stupid, at least of all PlayStation. And everybody knows that, like I said, when I originally heard about that stupid ass deal, was that the goal is to recuperate as much money as possible in the meantime for the next 10 years while Microsoft owns them because they know PlayStation is the leading platform. So recoup a bunch of that money via microtransactions and sales, while basically creating a loss leader strategy on their end because now they own the cow, so they don't have to pay for the cow, and basically
Mm-hmm.
go, hey, look, why don't you come over here? We got the cow. We'll give you milk. We'll give you milk already with your subscription. You don't have to pay us
Mm-hmm.
more. That is the entire goal with that. But it's not, like I said, regardless of the fact that Call of Duty is unequivocally the biggest thing in that discussion, right? But I'm saying the other things are not unimportant. Like like I said, Diablo 4 is going to be massive. That is
Mm-hmm.
huge. Overwatch is huge. Now, yeah,
Overwatch
is there going to be another
2 seems
Overwatch
to
in
be
20
dead.
minutes? I mean, it's not though. Like I don't like it and none of us play it, but I know people who literally only play Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
Literally that's it.
Mhm.
Like the same way people
Yeah.
only play
I
Apex.
the reason, okay, here's why I said it seems to be dead. Because the people that I know that play it said they're wishing for microtransaction to be back.
I mean, I'm not getting into the details of it. I'm just saying the game though. They like the
Mm-hmm.
game. I'm not
And
getting into the
it's
cosmetics.
also big in esports.
Yeah, it's huge for esports.
Yeah.
Um, so like I said, just between those combination of games, and then like don't get me wrong, like I think because another thing that Microsoft has been doing is trying to get a lot of PC games that were PC only and get them ported over to consoles, which is where the Blizzard portion of a lot of that comes in. Like Blizzard has the which I can't remember, Hearthstone, which is a card game, a wildly
Mhm.
successful card game, which
Mm-hmm.
can definitely be really addicting. But that's super easy to port over. Something they could toss in Game Pass, real easy. World of Warcraft subscriptions, they could toss those in there. There's just so much. There's so much monetization and money to be made from this deal for them. Um, like I said, it's almost too big, like to me.
Mm-hmm.
So
So you truly don't think that they should be allowed to do
I don't think they
get
should be allowed. And
me neither.
anybody that wants it wants it selfishly for like, hey, I don't have to pay for this or that, but they're not looking at the
Yeah,
long term effect on the industry and the issues. I've heard people with these very whimsical thought process. Yo. So look, Microsoft get them. They gonna bring back all the games, bro. They about to bring back True Crime. You know what I'm saying? They could be like, people keep thinking of all these things they think Microsoft is gonna do, and I'm like, why do you keep thinking that when all the stuff Microsoft has currently doesn't result in that? So why do you think
hey,
all of a sudden it's gonna result in all these games coming back that Activision has IPs for? Like
because they
Prototype.
need validation. They want to validate that purchase.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like a joke though, because it's like you realize a bunch of these franchises they're mentioning died for a reason. Like Activision has owned them and not brought them back because they weren't, profitable largely. or they weren't really selling like that. So it's like that's the large part of why a bunch of these haven't continued. Um, so it's like Xbox is definitely not about to turn around and bring all that stuff back.
Mm-hmm.
People think Microsoft just got this infinite check they're willing to cash and just keep delivering game after game after game and new IPs and new IPs and new sequels to older franchises. And like, number one, you got to have the manpower for that and the capability and the time. Like, all this stuff is not going to start showing up. Like, honestly, even if this deal went through by July or whatever, like, it would still be years before you see anything come out fully under them. The same way we are now, right? Like, Hi-Fi Rush, gets a big thing, but that was in development since 2017. Again,
I thought I wasn't even by the deal
no, no,
because
no,
of
but
the deal.
that's what I'm saying. Like, but people are in a rush to be like, yeah, Microsoft, you guys published that, bro. And it's like, no, you bought somebody who was almost done with a drawing, and then you sold the drawing, like,
Yep,
like
basically.
yeah, like, I mean, like, call me when they fully develop a game underneath Microsoft, then I'll give Microsoft the credit, because currently anything that has been fully in development under Microsoft, outside of like a team that's largely autonomous, like the Forza team, has struggled. And now that the Forza Horizon team is under them and trying to develop Fable, guess what they're doing? They're struggling. Like, this is I don't want a company who cannot seem to get their shit together when it comes to this
Mm-hmm.
development cycles, to have more of my games. I don't want it. And it's like, I got my system. Like I said, my PC is better than any Series X on the entire market. Like, period. Like, but that's not the point. Like, I don't want this company who can't handle what's already on their plate to get even more. Who sits there and goes, "Damn, I'm almost full," and goes back up to the buffet and fills up another plate? Like, no one. You already know you're about to pop. You know what I'm saying? Even though the food is, you already paid for it. You're like, well, I'm gonna get as much as I can. Yeah, you're gonna get sick, and none of that food's gonna stay down. Like, you need to be able to manage what's on your plate. Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. I wanted to see what. It's almost like Microsoft. The forgetful gamer said. It's almost like Microsoft is keeping the attention on COD by acting like this, so they can keep attention off Diablo, WoW, King, etc. Sleight of hand. Look at the right hand. Don't look at the left hand. Exactly. That's exactly what I keep telling people. They keep going Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty, and I'm not saying Call of Duty's unimportant. I'm just saying Call of Duty is definitely not the whole picture. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, there's just so much to be had
Shout
in
out,
this deal.
shout out to the forgetful gamer for that one.
Yeah, and it's accurate, and I've said so. And like I said, I didn't even know about the advertising business. That just came to light to me like a week ago. Somebody brought it up and was like, that's like 20 billion dollars a year or something for Activision. So it's like, in revenue.
Decent PlayStation made that comment because PlayStation main focus have always been called COD.
Well, no, that's not PlayStation's focus though. That is the focus of the discussion for the CMA and like what they're talking about. So you keep saying it's PlayStation's focus, but notice that that is Microsoft's focus publicly. Microsoft is the one that keeps bringing up Call of Duty. We'll give you Call of Duty this long. We'll give you Call of Duty that long. Hey, we're giving Call of Duty to Nintendo. Xbox has actually brought up Call of Duty more than anybody else, but they keep trying to ignore all these other things in the acquisition
Mm,
as if they're irrelevant, and that's why I'm telling you they're not. All of these are strategic positionings to get them in a specific place And I'm telling you, like it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like a major effect right now, but Call of Duty is the least of the problem. I'm telling you. Like if you want to go down the line and see eventually in the
Mm.
future, and I'm telling you because even though Morgan doesn't even realize it, that's how funny it is. Morgan said the other day she was like she really wants more co-op games so we could play together, and she's never played Diablo. I'm like, you realize Diablo is exactly what you're asking for, right? The entire game is co-op, four-player co-op from start to finish. This is
Mm-hmm.
exactly the type of game you're asking about. And if they can seal that deal before Diablo comes out, you better believe Diablo 4 is going to be in Game Pass. This is what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're looking to secure and lock this stuff down for that service, and largely because, like I said, it's I'm gonna keep it 100% with y'all. This is the one thing I'll give Microsoft credit for. I will give it when it's actually due. Microsoft like Game Pass is killing it right now. That shit is out of
I think we,
control.
bu-
Hmm?
I
Wait,
think they
wait. Repeat that what you said?
I said Game Pass is killing it right now.
Is killing it?
Yeah,
are
With
killing it.
what?
I mean they brought out you had Hi-Fi Rush. You had Monster Hunter Rise. Then you had um, I forgot something else came out. I forgot what the fuck it was. Uh, a bunch of people are having fun with Age of Empires 2, I guess. I don't really know. I already had access to that, so I can't tell them. Um, there's some other stuff. Like there's so much stuff that came out. Like I keep forgetting how much stuff actually came out. Um, I have to actually
Forgetful
pull it
Gamer
up.
said Persona 3 and 4.
Yeah, Persona 3 and 4. On top of that, they just had like I said it was so much that like stuff was coming out that I didn't even realize was coming out. And then like I said on top of that, they just got Hot Wheels Unleashed, which is actually really good. The Game of the Year edition specifically, which was actually pretty good. Um, they even got this was super random and not that I
Wulang,
personally care.
Wulang about to come out, and
Yeah.
then you have Atomic Heart.
Yeah,
Okay.
Wulong is coming out. Like I said, yeah, Atomic Hearts is on there. Um, then the JoJo's fighting game was on there. Like I'm not saying that's huge, but I'm saying that's unheard like that's a weird unheard of thing. And then on top of that, SD Gundam Battle Alliance. I've been on the fence with that game for months because I want if I'm gonna get it, I wanted the deluxe edition or whatever. But now it's
Mm-hmm.
like the reason a bunch of people on Xbox are at least claiming they're playing it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this results in any. This has nothing to do with Xbox gamers because a bunch of these people have access to these games and they still don't play shit.
Oh yeah.
But I'm saying Game Pass itself is killing it. Like the
Mm,
releases right now are crazy. Like
okay.
and like SD Gundam Battle Alliance was huge because largely I've seen a ton of people on the timeline enjoying that, Bari and all of them included. Um, and like I said, that was one I was gonna get, and now it's like, oh, it's on Game Pass. Now the only thing that like I said, I'm just giving credit to Game Pass because I personally don't want to play SD Gundam Battle Alliance on my PC.
I told you when it was on discount on PlayStation.
Yeah, but it wasn't discounted enough.
Uh-huh.
That's
Yeah,
what.
fair,
Yeah,
fair.
it's
Because we
not dis.
already got too much game to play.
Yeah, so
Okay, gotcha.
that's my problem, right? Like I said,
Mm,
I'm just giving them credit that they're killing it, right? As far as the
mm-hmm.
releases, like I wouldn't be mad if that was the only thing on my plate right now. That's what I'm saying. Like to me, that says a lot. Now I'm not saying it's going to remain the releases are going to remain that way for a long time or whatever, but in this current window, like it's crazy. And then like he mentioned, Atomic Hearts is coming on top of that, so on and
Yeah.
so forth. Like it's kind of nuts right now. Now for me, like I said, it doesn't work out the same way, um, because I have so much to play already that I actually own. So all this me having Game Pass doesn't really do anything for me because I'm not gonna stop playing the games I bought to play these games. That's the trouble with Game Pass in my case because I just bought Fire Emblem. I'm playing Fire Emblem. I bought Hogwarts Legacy. I'm playing that. Like I and before I finish these, something else is gonna come out. And then there's certain games which, and this is stuff I get, right? Like Chained Echoes. If I play Chained Echoes, chances are I'm going to play it on PlayStation, so I'm just going to buy it. You see what I'm saying? So it's but again, I can't take that away from the fact that Game Pass got that. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, like
Mm.
I give credit where it's due, bro. They've been getting crazy releases. They're gonna get the Uden Chronicles 100 Heroes when that comes out. That's gonna come directly to Game Pass, um, which is crazy because I'm massively looking forward to Eden Chronicles and the 100 Heroes, being the
Yeah,
spiritual
that
successor.
I played the first, the what you call it,
Yeah, you played
the
Rising.
appetizer, and I
Yeah.
had a blast with it.
Yeah, I know you told me you liked it. It looked terrible to me, but uh, yeah.
I got a blast.
But
Um,
yeah, a lot of
uh,
people have said that. So a lot of people, and a lot of people, guess what? If they were curious, it didn't cost them anything extra. Not free. It didn't cost them anything extra, and it just showed up. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah,
Mm.
again, anybody who wants to go back and listen to the podcast, see, I'm giving Game Pass credit when it's actually due, motherfuckers. This is how it's done. Just for all the people who think that we, oh, y'all hate Xbox, this, that, and the third. No, bro, like they're killing it as far as Game Pass goes and getting these secured third party and third party deals for their system. Like that's what they're doing right now. Now, first party, yeah, I'm slaying them all day. There's no excuse. They're out of control. They need to get their shit together. Xbox as a whole, they need to get their shit together when it comes to that. But
I
yeah.
was wondering how you're gonna give them credit when the third party talk shit.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I could split the two. Those are two very different things. And I could
Mm-hmm.
I could split the
Gotcha,
two. So yeah.
gotcha. Wait, what about you?
what's funny is I saw, because related to that, I you see Bobby Kotick is on what you call it, is begging tour where he's trying to uh, go is going through all the usual news channels and trying to convince people that the deal is a good thing and that Sony is not returning his call or shit like that. Fucking hilarious. But I also seen people what's called Jess Gordon, like think, yeah, like even if the deal's not going to go through, like the relationship with Activision is not and Sony's not fucked. Like, nah. I mean, that's just they're playing the game, right? And when this deal, or rather this deal will fail, then it's going to be back to business. Then Activision is not going to, just because Bobby's feelings got hurt and he didn't get his golden parachute, he's not going to sabotage his entire company by saying, "Oh yeah, we're not going to release Call of Duty anymore on PlayStation." That's never going to happen. And PlayStation is poised to be the number one platform once more this generation, based on their console sales alone. So no, it's, and I don't know how long. Here's the thing, like with Bobby, I think he was counting on this acquisition to stay out of jail, because the things that they've said about him, and entire situation with Activision, like
So
there was
yeah,
going to be
let's talk about it.
swept.
He is apparently rumored to have
Yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to kill
yeah.
one of his co-mates.
Yeah, that's old news. We already knew that. But the thing is, like with the entire acquisition, that all got swept on the rug, right? Or rather, we nobody was talking about it anymore. So
So
this whole,
I read a tweet, not a tweet, a theory. What if he is the mastermind behind of this?
in what way that he purposely threatened to kill an employee so that Microsoft would buy it?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, he used Microsoft desire to buy it so he can get a golden parachute and avoid what you call it, the
Yeah,
launch.
that's what I've been saying. That's the entire reason why he's championing this acquisition, because he was hoping that when Microsoft bought it, that he will get his golden parachute, he can retire, and then he can avoid any litigation that's gonna come his way because of the shit that's happening in Activision. Uh, when the deal doesn't go through, then it's still his problem. It's not Microsoft's problem, and he's not gonna get his golden parachute if he's gonna get fired or maybe even incarcerated. I don't know what charges are gonna be in the end for what he has allowed to happen in the company and what he's been guilty of himself. So I mean, he's banking on this, so it's not a surprise that he's going out there and then trying to convince everybody that this deal has to go through and that's better for the industry, blah blah blah. It's better for his pockets, yes, but I mean, look, I don't know what they. I mean, I know what they're thinking in terms of why they're doing this, um, but I mean, Bobby Kotick is literally the devil, right? I mean, you're having the devil there telling you that this is a good deal. Nobody's gonna buy that, man. So yeah, it's kind of hilarious to me that we have this despicable person out there. Basically the stereotypical evil CEO is out there telling you that this is better for you as a consumer. Yeah, I mean it's fucking hilarious.
Gotcha. So, but at the end, do you think Microsoft would agree to the deal without Call of Duty?
Nope, absolutely not. And they've been awfully quiet, right? Because they could have just said, okay, yeah, sure, let's do it. I mean, they've basically like I think they've even said like the only reason they're doing is like for getting into mobile. I think like the options that they were presented like either sell off Call of Duty, uh, uh, sell off Activision and Blizzard, or the deal's not going to go through at all. But like so in the end, like there was the an option remaining for basically just getting King, right, the mobile division. Um, so yeah, I mean, in theory, if Phil wasn't lying, yeah, they could say, yeah, sure, we'll take it, right, because that's what we're actually after. Well, they're not, of course, because they do want Call of Duty, they do want all the other IPs that Activision and Blizzard have. I mean, it's clear with the games, but yeah, Call of Duty is the absolute crown jewel there. I mean, I know Nate that you said like it's not just Call of Duty, and I agree with you, but let's also be real. That's their number one priority. That's the entire reason why uh, they decide to undertake this venture, right? Um, and if it's just not gonna it's not worth $70 billion if it just if they can't have Call of Duty, which is also the entire funny thing when people are saying like, yeah, okay, if that deal goes sour, right, it's not going to go through, then they can just spend $70 billion on other publishers.
Oh,
Well,
you mean you
no,
mean you mean scorched earth? They're just gonna buy
yeah,
everything else on the planet.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you really don't know how this works, right? Because they now that they have have the attention of all these regulatory bodies, that they're gonna keep an eye on them, and the next time they're just gonna try to buy something else, the same thing is gonna happen. It's not a matter of it's too big and you can't have this one, but if you pick a smaller one, you can do that. Now they were sleeping with Bethesda, right? They weren't
Mm-hmm.
paying attention, and now they are. And now, and like we had, I think the discussion last time, like yeah, Sony might also have an issue when they announce that we're going to buy a publisher. It's not that they're going to say, yeah, okay, yeah, Microsoft had Bethesda, so you can buy a publisher too. No, they're going to be concerned that there's too much consolidation in the industry, and they're gonna make it difficult for them to buy them. So Microsoft is not going to just be able to, but also not interested in doing so because if this fails, like I think Omar, you said it last time, like it's you have to pay 3 billion to Activision. It's not, and aside from all the costs they made trying to acquire them and the lawyer fees and etc., it's not like they. Uh, it's not cheap, right? It's not that they can just do that all the time and until they run out of the 70 billion that they had. and it has to be worth it, right? I mean, yes, Activision with like Call of Duty and all the other IPs they have is worth it, but you can't really say the same for most other publishers that have like Take Two maybe, but like I can't say that Ubisoft or Square Enix have IPs that are worth that much or worth spending billions of dollars to acquire them. So it also has to make sense. And in the end, they're a publicly traded company, and as much money as they have, they also own responsibility to the shareholders. And if the shareholders have the impression that Satya is just throwing money away, going crazy, buying things that don't add value to their portfolio, then they're gonna riot. Then they can basically vote him out. So and he's not gonna risk that. So yeah, I mean, if this deal is gonna be blocked, it's probably going to Microsoft's going to be real quiet for a long time. They're not just
Okay,
gonna buy
so
anything else.
so then you said something that I wanted to talk about. If this deal gets blocked, then what's next for Microsoft? Because now not only can't it, not only I don't think they're gonna try and do it again, because unless they pick up a small publisher, like for example Ubisoft, I think Ubisoft they can get away with because Ubisoft doesn't have an IP that rivals Call of Duty or even FIFA, for example, or the EA.
Yeah, but you're missing the point. It's not just about the size of the company or the value of the IPs. It's consolidation either way. It's a major player in the market that will be acquired by one of the providers, basically of a console platform. And now they're scrutinizing this deal because they've woken up because they've and this is happening all around the tech industry, right?
Yep, and not
They're
just gaming.
yeah, in gaming. They are afraid, the concerned about the power these companies are getting by getting more and more consolidated and getting
Mm-hmm.
control of more and more, parts of that industry. And
Mm-hmm.
gaming is not an exception there. So they might very well object to any publisher that they want to acquire simply because no, we don't want to see any more consolidation here. We fear that this is going to reduce, consumer protection and consumer rights, and give them too much power, where they can dictate terms, where they lessen choice, they can kill the competition, and do all sorts of shady shit, right? So
Kill the
yeah, it's not
competition
that
and up the
simple.
price.
Exactly.
That's always the goal.
Yep.
Interesting, interesting,
Yeah,
interesting,
I said that
interesting.
this reminds me of ISPs in the United States. In the United States, we largely have two choices, usually in an area. Some places you only got one choice. Some places you have no choice. Like U.S. infrastructure for internet is terrible. Um, but yeah, like that's the problem. You're in a chokehold. You either get the really good internet. This is usually how it is. You get the one internet that's really really good, or you get the competition who is significantly less speed. Uh, but they'll only charge you $40 a month, at least until their infrastructure gets better. Then they're like, hey, we can offer you
Mm-hmm.
more, and then they start charging you the same as the other people charged you in the first place. So they weren't really being nicer; they just couldn't offer you as much. It's the same thing like we were talking about with Microsoft not charging $70 yet. They weren't charging it to be nice. They weren't charging it because they weren't releasing shit. And
Yeah, but
the one game
they
that they
still.
did, guess what? To actually access all that game's content, you gotta spend more money, which is
Mm-hmm.
Forza, which I told you. That's why I bought the $100 edition day one because in order to have the car pass and all the stuff and all the cars in the game and everything, you gotta spend that, or you gotta maintain your Game Pass subscription plus pay
Mm-hmm.
$50, which is stupid because then you'd be buying DLC for a game you don't own. So if your subscription ever lapsed or whatever, then you would have $50 worth of content you can't play. Like that's what
Mm.
I'm saying. Like this is all
I
a ploy.
I have a question. Oh, two questions. One, if the deal don't go through, do you think Phil is gonna still be remained with the company?
You said do I think
Uh,
what?
If the deal doesn't go through,
Mm-hmm.
will Phil Spencer be fired? Yes or no?
No,
no.
Because he would be the reason why this deal didn't go through.
he's not the reason.
Be-
He's just
Mhm.
the spokesperson that delivers news.
No, no,
That
no, no, no.
Oh,
Because what he tweeted out, how he said we're not gonna take him away from
that's
Bethesda.
not the only reason. That's
no.
not the reason though. Like that's just stuff for them to latch onto to be like so like I said that's inadmissible in court, but just because something is inadmissible in court it doesn't mean it's not a factor in someone's mind. But that's not the reason though, because they have to present actual like legal ramifications or potential issues within the industry as to why they want to deny the deal, which there's plenty. Like I mean, we brought up a ton of reasons why it's a bad idea to let a platform holder
Hmm.
gain a who just bought, mind you, like 12 or 13 other studios, and people
I
keep
wanna comment
acting like
about that.
like this is the first purchase Xbox is making. That's the one thing I keep seeing. Like there's someone, the random guy gamer or whatever his name is, like he was complaining like I don't really care either way. I just find it funny that like if it was PlayStation, they don't get scrutinized or this that and the third. And I was like, bro, you out here acting like Microsoft hasn't purchased several individual developers and then purchased all of ZeniMax, Bethesda, which is like 7 or 8 studios or more in and of
In one
itself.
fell swoop,
Yeah,
they
like
killed what we call it Western RPG on PlayStation.
yeah,
They
like
removed that
like people
completely.
keep trying to act like Obsidian is like some irrelevant purchase. Like Obsidian is the alternative to Bethesda, like the developer. Like they're the one alternative and they snatched them up too. Like so it's like like people keep trying to make it seem like Microsoft just really needs this or whatever. Like I'm convinced some of these people might actually have stock or something with Microsoft because the way they out here
Mm.
begging and acting like Microsoft is just this struggling is in this super struggling position for anything other than their incompetence in management and not because of their lack of studios is hilarious. Like like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So they get Activision, it's going to be perfect and they'll be good to go. And that's it. No, because you know what their next
Mm.
question is? After we get Activision, what's next, guys? What should we buy next? What should.
Yeah, no, 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 no. They are not even done with Activision and they're already doing Sega.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They already trying to buy something else. Trying to and calling
Mm-hmm.
it we. What do we want to buy next? As if they're a part of this. As if they got anything, anything to actually gain monetarily out of this. And it's just it's hilarious.
We, what about you?
I don't think Phil is going to be fired now because no, he's not responsible for the deal failing. It's way more complicated. And um, I mean, he's their golden goose because despite performance and shit like that, they know the fans love him, right? So they're not going to get rid of them because they
They
know
do,
that.
they do.
Yeah, no, he's gonna stay or he's gonna retire, whatever, right? But he's not gonna be booted out if the deal falls through. I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely
Oh,
not.
okay,
he's part of the plan.
Yeah, like
gotcha.
like somebody said at one point, Phil's the guy that steps on stage and gives you the good news. That's what Phil does. you know, like I
Mm-hmm.
said
Gotcha.
to Xbox fans, when it was a question of whether or not Bethesda titles were going to be exclusive going forward, the moment they had that deal nailed down, what did he do? He sat right there and said, "No, all future titles will be exclusive."
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? He
So,
he
okay,
only delivers that news.
okay. Then my question for you would be this. would Microsoft be having this much issue and trouble getting this deal done if they didn't buy Bethesda?
Mm, I don't think it'd be as much trouble, but I still think it would be heavily scrutinized because, like I said, the one thing on top of all this that Activision has is that, like I said, Call of Duty is, and this is where Call of Duty comes in. Call of Duty is literally bigger than itself, and what I mean by that is like even in the worst years of Call of Duty, it sells more than they thought it would.
Yeah.
It literally just it's bigger than itself. Like
Mm,
they don't even know what to do with it. They're just making it because it just sells. And then it's like I said, um, this year showed you more than ever, or at the end of last year, them announcing bringing back Modern Warfare 2. Uh, how big of an effect that had, right? Um,
Don't fall asleep on us, Nate.
I'm not. No, but it had a massive effect on that because I even bought Call of Duty. I haven't bought Call of Duty in like the last 4 or 5 CODs because it was just the same bullshit, different scenario, whatever. But this was like their first big, jump in a long time, and then they were bringing back, Modern Warfare 2. Now, obviously, that's not what we really got. Once we all sat down and saw it, we got something labeled Modern Warfare 2, the remake or whatever, quote unquote. But that's not really what we got. We just got another
mm,
modernized Call of Duty with the label Modern Warfare 2 on it.
okay.
That's what we
Gotcha.
got. But that's what I'm saying. Like, but then all of a sudden, what did it do? It broke records again. Like
Yeah,
that's all they had to do.
that's also the sort of the curse of Activision because that's also the reason why they're not making anything else because they can't make anything else and they have to keep on pushing out Call of Duty every year because if they don't, yeah, as popular as the franchise is, the franchise is going to die if they're going to take the
They
approach. Oh, yeah, we're going to release one
they actually believe that
every four
they're
years.
gonna not release it day one. I mean yearly.
No, that's not going to happen. They need to keep pushing that out yearly because it's that's the kind of franchise it is, right? It will keep selling as long as as people are keep seeing it, right? If you stop it, it's not a franchise that you can just say, okay, yeah, let's take our time. Let's work 4 years on it and release the next one. No, that's not it. Like it's with FIFA, right? You need to like you can't just decide, okay, yeah, now, yeah, it's FIFA 2023. Yeah, next one is going to be 2026. That's you can't do that. It's supposed to be an annual franchise, and with Call of Duty, that doesn't have a number to it, but it's a kind of franchise that's only stays relevant as long as you keep releasing new entries, right? You keep giving people their fix. If you don't do that, they will look elsewhere and they won't care anymore. It what
Gotcha.
does what does Call of Duty have other
Mm,
than that fix, right? It's not like you're gonna play Call of Duty for a story that you wanna yeah you can't miss out on that you need to play the next one to figure out what happens next, right? That's that's not what Call of Duty is about.
Yeah.
mm-hmm. Gotcha. Um, my last question for this topic would be, I had one. I had one. If I remember it, I will bring it back up. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Two things. One, will Activision? No, no, no. Will PlayStation lose its relationship with Activision if this deal doesn't go through?
I just talked about it. No,
Yeah. No.
I interesting. So you and I said well as well. Um,
I'm gonna tell you why really quickly because I can tell you sound lost by a response, right? The answer is no because 70+% of the sales for Call of Duty are on PlayStation. That is why. So the answer is
yeah,
no.
I know. I'm aware of that, but okay, it's very interesting then. And the final one about this would be, um, yeah, no, I think we covered it all with what would Microsoft do with the money. I think they should invest that money in the best bug studio. But hey, who am I, right?
I mean, we know that's what they should do, but
Yeah,
they're clearly not doing that, which is why a bunch of these
yeah.
teams are struggling, and they're not brought up to size that they need to be in order to have the appropriate manpower to get a lot of these projects they're being requested to do. We see the results of the mismanagement, so
Mm-hmm.
it is what it
It's
Not
it's
is.
al- it's also it's also funny. I mean, because yeah, we clearly know it's as a management problem there. But I also find it funny that people are hear some people say, okay, yeah, you need to hire managers, right? They need to hire the managers of Sony, like, but the thing is, like, it's not that simple because it is also a matter of how your company is structured. If you can put a fantastic manager, in your company, but if you have a shitty company structure, if that structure isn't in place to support that manager and have him, do with the thing and not have to deal with all the politics, then it's not going to work. Then
Exactly.
if if your
so
company
you
shit,
don't
your
think
employees will be shit.
so you don't think with with what you call it a position like for example Shuyoshida, someone like Shuyoshida can steer the ship back or
So
even
no,
Sean
no.
Layden?
So no,
No.
what you're missing is the structure, right? So let me explain how this works, right? So I worked for a company, right? At one point, I worked for the company before they launched the project I worked on, right? We designed what we call the scope of support from the ground up, meaning how people call in, how people send in tickets, how we handle returns or RMAs for bad products, everything. I literally designed it from the ground up, right? Eventually, we had a manager come in. What managers usually do, they go, "I need to make a splash. I want a promotion." That's their first thought. So their first thing is to come in, see what's what. What can I change? The woman, let me explain to you when this actually worked for this manager. When he stopped trying to make a splash and he listened to what the hell we were saying because we were the ones doing the work, and everything flowed like water. That's what we're talking about. The structure, you can't mess up the structure. Like everything has to be in place. Then he can manage it just fine. Everything flowed like water for the manager after that. But like Bruce Lee's famous, be like water, as he says, or be like water. That's what some people need to learn to be. Water flows. You need the shit to flow, right? Like if there's a bunch of roadblocks in the way and all this stuff and all this bad company infrastructure blocking someone like Shuhei Yoshida or something, then he can't work with anything. The reason he works as well as he does, the reason PlayStation works the well as they do, they have a company culture implemented in all those studios as a brotherhood, and the way that they communicate with each other and the way that they help each other and the way that they coordinate with each other, right? And to achieve their goals, but also beyond that is that culture bleeds into everyone else's. So like perfect example, and I always bring him up because he's one of the few people we talk to personally, right? Robert has now worked on games with both Santa Monica Studios, Naughty Dog, and now Ben Studios, right? Never
Yeah.
once has he been like, "Yo, I'm stressed out. I don't have enough time to get my work done." This, that, and the third. The one time he mentioned it, he was like, "Oh yeah, we had to work on this new animation, and they wanted it to look this way." And I said, "Look, I mean, realistically, it's gonna take us about 2 more weeks." And he said, the production manager or whatever the person's position was like, "All right, cool. Just keep me updated. We want the product to be the best it could be. I'll coordinate with the other teams, get everything in order, and let everybody know where we're at." And that was it.
So they actually care.
Yeah, because they're
Um.
trying to put out a quality product. So who do you ask when you need something done from the animation team? You ask the animators. The animators will tell you what they need. You know what I mean? And then you need that person to be able to coordinate between the other teams to get everybody else up to speed where they need to be so that you coordinate all this well. And then upper
Mhm.
management knows what's going on and is like, look, realistically, I know you guys wanted this by the 30th, but it's going to take until the 15th to get it done and it's going to look amazing. Okay, cool. I totally get that, especially largely because guess what? If you have confidence in the talent of your team, they're telling you what's what. So don't big boss the team and be like, nah, finish it. I want it on my desk by Thursday. That's how you get
Mm,
shitty work and shortcuts. Like,
Yeah,
gotcha.
it's all about trust, yeah. Because if you want to build up a company like that, you have to trust your people. You have to allow them to experiment, to and to fail. You know, the best way to learn things is to fail at something. I don't have the impression that, I mean, yeah, Microsoft fails, but they failed where they shouldn't fail with the end product. And I think the problem there is, I think we've heard this from former or even maybe current 343 employees, how terrible the work culture was there, how terrible the management was there. And I think if that explains so much, you can have hire like you see it also with the initiative, right? Where they hired what's his name, Drew Murray something from Insomniac, who then went back to Insomniac. I mean,
Mm,
and they also told it like the management was shit. Like you can have like a quadruple A studio with the best talent in the industry, and they will still not produce anything. They haven't, because they now basically told you that the game that we're working on is going to be developed by a third party developer. Like the you need to have the right work culture, right structure, and yes, having good management is important, but a good, like I said, a good manager, a good developer is never going to do a good job if they're put in a company in a structure that just isn't making use of their talents, right? That force them to conform to whatever corporate wants, and it's all just about the spreadsheets and the numbers and uh, you know and I mean I've worked for corporate and know how it works. Like if I report something is red, like like with traffic lights, we generally use those to report states of your project. Like red, like my manager will report then as amber, and his manager will report as green to his manager, because nobody wants to report get bad news to their to manager, because it will look bad on their stats, right? In the end, what
mm,
you're gonna get a project that will fail, that won't deliver on what was it's supposed to do, and will come as a total surprise, right? Because nobody ever did anything with the information that you threw upwards, right? Because everybody's covering their asses, all politics. And I think that's probably also what happened, with studios like 343, that they were saying, yeah, it's not working. We need help. It's there's not gonna look good, and in the end, uh, the product turns out the way it is. I mean, I'm pretty sure, like with the initial reveal of Halo Infinite, like the crack, that I'm pretty sure that the developers were saying like, no, we're not ready. We don't have anything to show for, and it was upper management that basically uh, decide, yeah, no, 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 we need, we're fine. We can show it, right? And that they probably told Phil and wherever, like, yeah, we're fine. We can, people will love it, right? I mean, it's their fucking responsibility. Like them claiming that, oh yeah, we didn't know, we didn't see it. Like, yeah, that's your problem, because you should have seen, like, you should have been involved there. You should have gone there and have a look at what they're working on and how it looks,
yeah.
and then make the call. Okay,
but
yeah,
that's what I'm trying to relay though. If they had someone like Sean Layden, they had someone
No, no, no,
like
no, 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 no.
yeah,
Yeah, well,
Joey
you're
Chida.
mistaken. You're mistaken what we're saying. It's not one person. You're mistaking this person as an entity. This person who can manage all this. We're talking about multiple layers
Oh,
of a
okay,
team.
okay, okay.
Sean
I
Layden,
got
I'll
it.
admit
I
that
got it.
that's all
I
well
got it.
and good for top end management. Sean Layden is not specifically in the studio managing day to day production and coordination between the teams.
Okay, okay.
That's what
Gotcha.
you need
Now I got
all
you.
of that. That's what we're saying. They're missing
Okay.
all of
So
that.
you need multiple translating, quote unquote.
Well, not just you need to have like changing in company structure isn't generally done from bottom up. You need to have the right management at the top who wants to change something, and then find the right people that can help him effectuate the change. And the problem
Mm,
is, like, even if you put Shuei Yoshida in there, he wouldn't be able to do the thing he does. They would he would not have an incentive to go down to the studio floor and check the progress of the game. It would probably He'd probably motivate to report back to his management that everything is okay, that nothing everything is on track, nothing is going wrong, and his manager would do the same thing. In the end, you would get a situation where they present a demo on stage and it looks like ass.
gotcha, gotcha. By the way, for the whole is Bobby Kotick the real architect behind the Activision Blizzard deal? Shout out to JVB for that gem. Um, Going to the next topic would be so Howard Legacy. You guys talk about it. Um, People are loving it. The fans are absolutely loving it. Um, Clearly, there's some animosity. To be honest, almost every game seems now to have animosity behind it.
Well, I
Like
mean,
what?
for
What?
everything someone creates, there's a hater.
That's like I had to like, yo, every game seems now to have something behind it. But Hogwarts Legacy is now rivaling Last of Us 2 when it comes to hate.
No, 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 no. I look.
Yes,
No,
yes,
no, 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 no,
no, actually,
no,
yes.
no.
No, no, no,
Omar,
no. There
Omar,
is
Omar,
up.
Omar. Hey, dude. Uh, be polite to let me
Go
explain
ahead.
why. The thing is, like, I agree in certain extent the methods might be the same, but it's not the same in terms of why they're doing it. Because the problem here is that the people who were hating on The Last of Us, they are regressives. They hate it because they believe that women are owned by their husbands, that gay people and trans people shouldn't exist, and basically anybody that's not white and straight and right wing, whatever, right? Those kind of people, that's their ideology. Now, the people who are going at it at Hogwarts Legacy are doing it because of the uh, the transphobic ideology of the creator of the IP, and I'm not saying the game, but the IP, and they are objecting to it because it puts her back into the spotlight. The IP will remain popular, and yeah, she probably gets some royalties from anything that is tied to the IP she created. So in the end, like I said, I the methods might be similar, that they harass people, etc., but the cause is different. And here's the thing. Um, while I find them also annoying, I do understand the method behind the madness, right? It's not just a matter of okay, some of them will probably be as naive to think that their boycott would actually have any effect. It hasn't. It probably has increased sales because uh, basically the game got free publicity, right? I mean, even bad press is still press, and they're getting their time in the spotlight. But at the same time, it also puts uh, you know the movement to put attention to the issue that trans people face. It puts that on the forefront, and that's the thing. Like, I know you for example retweeted some stuff like about the earthquake in Turkey, right? That's terrible too, and you retweet that as if we have other things to worry about. But the thing is, there's always something going on in the world, and um, it's not that they purposely chose, like, they didn't know that was going to happen, but you have to forge your iron while it's hot. This game is currently topical. In a few weeks, everybody who wants to play the game will have played it, and this news will die down, right? But now you have an opportunity to use that momentum to basically bring that to attention. And anybody who's in advertising will tell you the best commercials are either really funny ones or really annoying ones because you will remember the brand. And if you go to the grocery store and there's an annoying commercial that you just saw, you will probably buy that brand, even though you were fucking annoyed. But you will remember that brand, and that's the same thing here. Because yeah, there are legit issues. If you're in America and you're trans, you know that there's a lot of legislation being drawn up or even already implemented that basically is trying to erase you. If Trump ever gets in charge again, yeah, you're really fucked based on what he stated. So there's a lot to be concerned about. And there's only a limited amount of attention people have, and there's so many different news topics that are vying for your attention. So yeah, this is an effective way, even if it annoys us, to bring this to attention. So in the end, like I said before, I mean, I'm personally not invested in the franchise, so I don't like it. So I had no interest in the game in the first place, and any possible interest I could have had, for sheer curiosity, is basically restricted by the fact that I know what the author stands for, and I want nothing to do with her. But I'm totally fine with other people who are fans or not, playing the game, as long as you're doing it for the right reason, right? If you actually support her beliefs, then block me or whatever, because I have no interest in talking to you. But if you're just a fan and you decide to play the game, that's fine. I mean, we're all, as I like to call it, comfortably numb for certain things. Like, yeah, I know that I'm talking through a smartphone right now. I know that it's probably made with from labor from people who are not working under very good conditions. But I choose to still engage with that, still use that, because for me it's a decision I make, and I can understand people making that decision for something they love, like in this case, Hogwarts Legacy. But like, again, the thing is, the difference here is that the people who are in the end, it is a righteous cause, right? It is, and in the end, no social revolution has ever happened. Well, I want to say without violence, because the of course, it's keyboard warriors, and it's people harassing others with it's not real violence, but that's a reality of it. Like the feminists will always want to will never mention the fact that the suffragettes who gave women voting rights also planted bombs, right? I mean, the civil rights movement. There was also you know were also violent movements like the Black Panthers, and the reality of it is that you cannot separate that, and actually has contributed just as much as the peaceful contribution. In the end, like if all the trans people and their allies would have just shut up and said, look, it's fine, we're cool with this, yeah, nobody would have talked about this, right? So in the end, there's method to this madness. There's a strategy to this, at least to the people who actually understand this. I mean, like I said, there will probably be some people who are very naive and thought that actually the boycott would have worked. And yes, I do agree that some people go too far, and that's never okay. And in the end, people who are constantly saying that you're transphobic because you play the game, they're fucking annoying. I totally agree with you, but in the end, I think, like, for the greater good, in the sense, I can accept that because I understand how this works. It's not ideal, I know. We would rather have an ideal world where everybody was treated equally and we didn't need to do this shit. But it is what it is. So I hope that at least, very least, and I know, Omar, you do tend to only listen half most of the time, that you can understand where I'm coming from and
No,
why
no,
this
no.
is
I
some
got
kind of
where you're
situation.
coming from. Are you done? Just so I don't cut you off.
Well, I'm done unless you
Okay.
didn't
So
listen.
here is why I said what I said, and I'm gonna even not only double down, triple down. It's actually worse than The Last of Us 2, and far worse. Here is why. One, they actually put a hit list. They actually created a website where you can go to and look up who is streaming Hogwarts Legacy. That was not the case with The Last of Us 2. Furthermore, and this is the most scarier one, Kotaku was actually justifying leaking the ending of the game, putting spoilers for people putting actual spoilers. They were justifying that, and I know it's Kotaku. We all know Kotaku. What we call it? What do you call that? Yet?
But can I review this fairly quickly? People were leaking the ending of The Last of Us, or
Yeah, yeah,
leaked
but
Last of Us Part Two as
nobody
well.
justified that. I didn't see any articles that were actually justifying that. And here is
Well,
the
yeah,
key
but
difference.
the problem is there is not many uh, right wing gaming outlets. So yeah, I mean that's apples and oranges.
Here is the key difference between the two stories. And I'm not talking about Kotaku now. I'm talking about the two different fan base. With The Last of Us 2, people didn't give care if you played the game or didn't. They cared about you loving the game. That's what they cared about. But with Hogwarts Legacy, no. Just talking about the game, people are attacking you for it.
I'm sorry, but I fail to see the difference there because in the end it's not just loving them because I've had people also coming at me while I was playing the game and people were purposely trying to spoil portions of the game knowingly that you haven't finished the game. So I I don't think that there is a meaningful distinction there. But and then also here's the thing, like I don't think you entirely got what I just said because
No, no,
you're
no, no. I got
focusing.
everything you said.
No, no,
Trust
no, you
me.
no, yeah, but I don't think you got the essence of it because you're still focusing on the methods. And like I said, I don't agree with the extremes there, and I think the overall tendency is annoying. But there is a purpose to that, and that purpose to that is in the end championing a righteous cause, and it's necessary. And the difference there with The Last of Us is that the people who were complaining about it, the haters, yeah, they are aggressive. They don't have a righteous cause. They have a very regressive cause, and they all essentially, well, there were probably some trolls, but most of them have viewpoints that, yeah, are pretty much fascist, right? That's essentially their entire ideology. I think
No,
that's the
no, 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 no. Hold up. No. Last of Us was mostly about, aside from the fact that what Abby, quote unquote, transgender is and that, yeah, that part of the group existed. But what most people fixated on, what happened at the beginning of the game. That was
no,
their
no,
biggest
no, no,
issue.
no. No. I know that some people. Here's the
No,
thing.
no, no, no.
I,
Most
I think. I
people
think.
were against
No, no,
that.
no. Yeah, but I disagree because what I've seen, and again, I think we can never really make an accurate judgment on that because what we've seen is basically a fraction of the
Mhm.
um, responses as God, but I've seen like most people didn't have an issue, or maybe had an issue, but weren't focusing on that. There were perhaps some fans that I've seen that didn't like that or had some issues with. The way the story went. But I've seen a lot of hate. Like I got so much hate, so many people who threatened me, gave me death threats just for talking about the game, were harassing me, were trying to spoil shit, and were complaining about SJW this, blah blah blah. Like they were complaining about the fact that Ellie was gay, even though it was already established in the first game. Yes, what I've seen, the vitriol I've seen, largely stems from people who had, that particular ideology that just hated diversity, that the anti-SJWs, whatever you want to call them, right? So I disagree with the fact that that most people were just upset because of a particular choice made in the game. I think maybe you've seen differently. Like I said, we can't really measure that without some statistics, which we will never have. But what I've seen, most of the hate was essentially co-opted by a group that were just hating it because everything that has a woman or a gay character, trans character is woke and therefore bad, and therefore they have to do whatever they can to discourage people from playing the game, hating in the game, blah blah blah.
Okay, gotcha. Anyway, what your thoughts? Cause I have my take. We have to take. I'm clear where you stand. I know you love it, but what's your thoughts?
I think Ganesh fell asleep.
Nah, he is up. I told him. When he come through.
Yeah.
Um,
So anyway,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah. The only thing I'll say about it is that Mighty Keith said it pretty well. Um, like I said,
Yeah, he did
I,
nail it
I,
on the head with that
I'm all
video.
for the support of trans people and all that good stuff. But if you're out here harassing people to the point where you're just a straight up fucking asshole, and you're just being extra to people, you know what I'm saying, and becoming the person that you claim to be going against, then fuck you. Ultimately, yeah, that's it. It's very simple for me. It's not that complicated for me. Um, yeah, like you can support something and not be an asshole about it. You know what I mean? So, um, like I said, I mean, a lot of people like to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And that's cute, but I mean, at the end of the day, you got to be about it. Um, I mean, that's what I choose to do. I'm I've before any of this was even a topic of discussion. I've had friends that have gone through transition and stuff like that, and all that. So I mean, and we're still just as awesome as we were before they did. So that stuff doesn't affect me. I'm all about the person. So ultimately, if you're an asshole, you're just an asshole. And if you're not, you're not. Cool. Be a good person. Don't be mean to people. Stop being being that way. Maybe we can actually get somewhere. But yeah, yeah, that's it. Like I said, it's not that complicated for me.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Um, here is look, for me it look, when and this goes for the Last of Us too, when you review a game and you give it a one, that's what I have an issue with. You have your ideology, you do you. That's a you do you thing. But when you're actually a reviewer, you should be reviewing the game. And when if I am the gaming industry as a whole, and I see what Kotaku is tweeting out, I would absolutely bar them from ever reviewing my games.
I mean, they're damn near blacklisted by everybody as it is. So
I would never even give them any platform whatsoever, because
yeah, but
to
you
actually
can't stop them
justify,
from purchasing the game though.
Yeah.
yeah, no, you can't. But
Yeah.
to actually justifying spoilers, like, nah,
Is
you,
is Kotaku blacklisted, by the way?
sorry,
They are by a couple people. I know for sure they were by PlayStation for a while. I don't know if they still are, but they were.
Okay.
They weren't
Yeah,
getting
but
any of their they weren't getting any of
uh,
their review codes from them.
all right. But Kotaku is playing that game, right? That's why they're making these articles with the clickbait headlines, because they like I think they have like the same with the Last of Us. I'm sure the game or the show, like that said about it because it reminded me of the pandemic, like stupid things like that.
Oh
But
yeah, they
they're,
always do that.
they it's deliberate, right? They're not. publishing those articles because they generally believe in that shit. They're just doing that because people will hate it. They will retweet it. They will go to the website to read what the fuck this is about, and it generates traffic, and that's all they care about.
Ultimately, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And the final topic, because I wanted to cover it, but I moved on. Um, Microsoft actually admitted that, well, something that is so shocking, dude. Like, it's so shocking, it's unbelievable that everyone and their mother knew. Microsoft admitted that Game Pass cannibalized game sales. So, shout out to what's his name, Nathan Drake. Well. It's a well. I love that. I
Oh,
always love that.
I knew you
Um,
were going to make that joke.
yeah, that's Nathan Drake for you. Where do we start with this kind of worm? So, um, give me a second to I read it very quickly. Um, 5.46 Microsoft internal document recognizes that adding titles to Game Pass would lead to cannibalization of basically it's called B2P, which if you looked it up, it translates to just basically selling games. One internal email exchange states that um, what? It's not clear. He said, we asked third-party competitors and publishers to provide their views on the level of sustainability between uh, what we call it, game sales and the subscription service and the impact of it. Some response were fairly generic, e.g., explaining that games are available on both Game Pass and script and sales, and were not informative on the relevant question. However, the other response in the round suggests that um, Game Pass or subscription service, some content on what we call it, game sale, so it's I hate that whole comment, but basically the gist of it is Microsoft because of Microsoft uh, Game Pass, games are now being cannibalized, which um, and I would even go as far to say it's worse than what Microsoft said because and Microsoft said that when they put their games in Game Pass, that's when the game gets cannibalized, which that literally the opposite of what Phil Spencer's statement was that Game Pass leads to more sales. So, but I will even go even further with this one. I will go because of the existence of Game Pass. Now people are not buying games on the hope of games hitting Game Pass.
Oh yeah,
So Microsoft have not only one problem, they have two. They
well,
have
it's the same problem, I think.
no, it's different. Because one, they're not buying games because it's already in Game Pass, and the other one, they're not buying games in the hope for it
Yeah,
to come to Game Pass.
yeah, but it's part of the same problem. It's Game Pass, and that
Oh yeah,
and
it's the same problem. Yeah, it is
yeah,
Game Pass at the end.
and
Um,
it
yeah,
gets even worse because if somehow the rumor gets thrown out there, for example, by certain Mr. Spencer talking about Control, of course, that's going to hit Game Pass, uh,
yeah,
your sales are going to tank because
I
nobody's
remember
going
that.
to buy the game.
It was on discount for $20 on Amazon. I forgot.
Yeah.
And then people were like, "Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna buy it." And then the second Phil Spencer tweeted out that tweet, people were like, "Yeah, no, I'm gonna wait. It's gonna hit Game Pass."
They're still waiting.
Yeah, that's a weird game for Control apparently. Um, Nate, what you thought?
I mean, it's not even a question. I mean, it's obvious that it cannibalizes sales. I mean, we see it every day firsthand where people are passing up on the stuff. Like I said, I hear the bullshit live in spaces. You know, as somebody the other day, I was laughing because they were like, "Man, I really, I wanted to buy, you know, um, I wanted to buy the SD Gundam Battle Alliance, but shit, it's in Game Pass now." No, no, you didn't want to buy it. You're gonna play it because it's in Game Pass now. You were not gonna buy it, and even then, you
Mm-hmm.
might not play it because honestly, you could download it and still not play it, which we've also seen. So it's creating a culture of not only people failing to buy these games, but also a lot of these people are failing to actually complete these games because now it's just I'm just trying everything. It's turning into a sampler plate. They're just, ooh, let me
Yeah.
try that. Ooh, let me try that. Ooh, let me try that. Ooh, let me try that. And then they put it all
Oh,
down and they go back to Call of Duty.
shout out to J Body, Food Tipper, they call them.
Yeah, yeah. They just keep trying everything. Let me see what that tastes like. Let me see what that tastes like. It's like none of these people are running into the problem. Like, so they're getting twofold problems. You're getting people who are not invested, largely because they didn't spend any extra money towards the game. So it's causing them to make less sound decisions. Which, like I said, this is the one thing that I always talk about when people go, "Well, it didn't cost me anything extra or whatever," and like, no, it cost you time to play these
Yeah.
games and stuff like that. Like this is always a factor. You can't just get
Mm-hmm.
time back. Like so, no, I'm not gonna waste my time playing Bust a Cap in Yo Ass 3 because it's on Game Pass. Like like no, that game looks stupid to me. You know what I mean? And just in case anybody's wondering, it's not a real game. I'm just making shit up. But I'm just saying,
It
like,
should be a real game though.
yeah, I know, right? But that's what I'm saying. Like these people are playing everything. Like the amount of people I see, like don't get me wrong. When you're honestly interested in something, I get trying it, right? Like when people honestly be like, I normally I think people need to change the wording. People go, they played a game I otherwise wouldn't have tried. No, you need to say, I played a
Wait,
game,
hold up. What was the sound?
a fire engine.
Oh, okay, it's gone. Continue.
like, like he said that, like I was just like making the noise, like,
No, I couldn't follow you anymore. That's why.
oh my god, Omar, we gotta, we gotta,
Welcome to
we,
my
we need to get
hearing.
you a next gen hearing aid, bro. That's what we need to upgrade. But no, the now you fucked up my train of thought. But
I always do that.
yeah, but no, yeah, like I said, I mean, you're getting twofold problems, right? Like I said, you have the sales because they're either waiting, or for the potential, the thought of it coming to Game Pass, or we've seen the issues, right? Um, but then even when it does come, you're having the problem with them not playing it, which is actually what's causing a lot of them to lose games later. Which a lot of them, again, according to them, it's all just PlayStation's
That's
fault.
a different topic I wanted to cover, which is this is why we're not seeing games on Xbox.
Yeah, I mean it's still part of the same thing. So I mean, I'm just gonna bring it in right there
Mm,
because
Yeah, right.
because it is the thing, because they keep saying, well, why does it
yeah.
matter how much we play? Why does it matter that we're not completing the games? And it's like, okay, so you asked me that question, and then you want to know why Octopath Traveler 2 isn't on Xbox. Like, so the only metric they had to go by bringing in the new game was how many of you motherfuckers played it and how much did you play it. That's all they could go by. So by that logic, Square decided it wasn't worth it to bring the game to there. But they brought it to PC. They brought it back to Nintendo, and then they brought it to PlayStation, who didn't even get it last time.
I love how I think you already addressed that, but how they say like, yeah, no, indeed, I will try games that I would never play before. That they're somehow claiming that their gaming palette has expanded, while they're missing out on so many games that they're not like it's backwards, right? Because they're deciding like, yeah, look, I'm not going to play it unless it comes to Game Pass. So they're choosing to miss out on so many great games they could be playing because Game Pass is essentially their filter, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're they're limiting themselves because they can only play what's in Game Pass because they're paying for a subscription service, so they feel like they're essentially stealing from themselves if they actually buy the game because yeah, that's the point of Game Pass. You don't have to buy games anymore. I know, yeah, there are plenty of people who do still buy games, or plenty, maybe a minority, but the vocal people on Twitter and YouTube, they're all saying like, yeah, no, I don't need to buy games because I have Game Pass, and
Yeah.
I can kind of imagine how limiting your gaming experience is because of that.
Mm.
Well,
It's
yeah. Yeah.
it's what's fun about it. What you and I said, which is basically they're blaming PlayStation for them not getting deals.
Oh yeah,
My
and
question,
it's their own fault though. Like it's like
yeah,
stop. This is y'all's problem. Y'all keep wanting to blame everybody else for your platform's shortcomings, and it's all on
mm-hmm,
y'all. And then they get more excuses on top of that. Like when I was in the space the other day, and this person was so
That, that
upset
was
because
your
I,
first mistake.
huh?
That was your first mistake.
Oh no, no, no. But I mean, I was fine. I just tore their points apart, and they didn't like that because they
Uh,
basically tried to say, well, I'm a multiplayer gamer. That's why I'm on Xbox. So y'all getting on us about not completing these games,
oh,
but
I remember that one. I was there. Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, that. You know,
yeah,
and he made the excuse, and then cheat code even went further, and was like, hold on, let me pull up the list, and he pulled up the list, and the top 10 most played games on PlayStation were all multiplayer games. So I was
yeah,
like, so we were like, okay, so clearly PlayStation guys are out here playing multiplayer, and we're still beating your ass at completing these
and
games.
single player, both.
Yeah, now
My question for you is then, why are we not hearing this from developers?
I mean you
here
do
here in one.
I mean, you do hear it though. It's just
Not
it's in the
enough.
no, they're not gonna tell you that's why. They show it to you in the report. They
Yeah,
said
we seen it with
people don't pay attention.
Capcom.
Like yeah, that's what I say. Capcom showed like 70 or 76% of their
Mhm.
sales and engagement or something was PlayStation, and then like
Mm-hmm.
20 something percent was like PC, and then Xbox was like 3 or 4, like it was like some really stupidly low number, like
Eight
3 or 4%.
8%, if I remember
Mhm.
correctly. Yeah, something to that degree.
But I have heard developers saying that Game Pass is bad essentially for their games. Like, wasn't it? Which one was it again? It wasn't. I think an indie developer who was saying like for indie developers, unless you're already established have had a few successes, Game Pass is not going to work for you. It's gonna lose your money. It like it's only good if you need are an established developer and you can basically recuperate your costs. Uh, it and you know. Uh, and I think there was also which one? I'm sure that somebody was laughing about the idea that that they actually made more money in Game Pass, right? So I
Mm.
think there were developers who have spoken out about it. So it's not a secret. Yeah, okay, that kind of like sales is obvious, but that it's not necessarily making developers more money. And I think you mentioned that thing before we started the podcast that somebody said that Game Pass is unsustainable in the future. Yeah, I mean, obviously, because I mean the thing is it's unsustainable because right now they're throwing money at it, not just with the subscriptions, but also with developers because they have this sort of flexible model where like Phil said, that like you can, we can, you can decide to that we pay for the development of the game. Can get basically money depending on how many people download the game or play the game or how long they play the game, kind of thing. But yeah, that's only going to work in the short term, because in the long run they're going to just make one system for everybody, and then there's probably going to be something like playtime, right? Or how many people total playtime, right? And then you're going to get these sort of homogenizing of games where everyone is going to make games that can increase their playtime as much as possible. I think I mentioned that before in the previous podcast, where everything is going to be roguelike and procedural generated, because those kind of games uh, keep you coming back, and you will put the most hours in those, and it's easiest to make. So you will see basically a lot of sameness, rather than it will stifle creative freedom, because people are essentially just trying to play the algorithm, right, instead of making a game on its own merits, and hoping that it will sell well. Um, so
I
yeah,
have I have
Game
a
Pass.
question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go
Okay.
ahead.
No, no, kind of finished.
I thought you
Go
were
ahead.
done.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
I have a question then for you guys both, and even chat. And shout out to Game in Despair. Where have you been? Um, why are we seeing games like? Here's the thing. We just commented about how Capcom knows the Game Pass lead to less sales. So why is Monster Hunter in Game Pass? Why are you putting Monster Hunter in Game Pass but you're not putting Resident Evil in Game Pass? We both
I,
and here's the
I,
thing. We
yeah,
both
I think
know
oh, go ahead.
Monster Hunter sells. So what's up with that? Go
Yeah,
ahead,
but I
you go ahead.
yeah, but I think that answer that, because it's not going to get go there generally day and date, unless it's Monster Hunter day
Yeah,
and
no,
date.
Monster Hunter was day and date. Monster
Okay,
Hunter.
but I think the assessment there generally depends on that's kind of the problem with Game Pass, is because you know that if you're going to release a game on Xbox, that people will expect it to be in Game Pass, and your sales, direct sales are going to be very disappointing. Um, most games that are, let's say, AAA third-party games that are released on console are going to be uh, not in Game Pass, not in the subscription service, because they want to keep that parity with the other platform, because they know uh, that if one platform has it in the subscription service, another one has it in, you have to pay for it, that can cannibalize sales from that. And it's a thing, like, I don't think anybody really, at least none of the major developers, I mean, if they've all, or publishers have all spoken out about it, that Game Pass, day and day in Game Pass is not going to work for them, because those games cost too much money to make, and they're going to lose out too much sales. So they have no real incentive to sort of direct uh, gamers towards Xbox, because putting their games day and day there, and they can basically get that game, well, as they say, for free, but paying subscription service, while they have to pay full price on the other platform, because yeah, that's even worse, right? It's not just cannibalizing sales on Xbox, but also on PlayStation. So that's why they generally don't do that. But with certain games where they have like, either they feel like they're not going to get any more sales out of these platforms, or they're going, or sorry, about with this particular game. But it could also be, I don't know, maybe they're experimenting, maybe they're seeing, I
Hmm.
think, want to see what happens there. But I think that this Monster Hunter Rise, right? So the one that was on Switch
Yeah.
for, yeah, I don't know,
Wait.
It
M-
was
right?
one. It's 1 year, not 2 years.
Monster Hunter Rise was it 60 or 40?
It was a
Shout
si-
to
it
you,
was a
Bob.
it was a $60 game
Yeah, yeah,
when
it's
it
full
when it
price
launched.
game.
So it is 60.
Hmm? No,
So it
when it
is
launched,
now 40?
I don't know.
Oh, let me look it up very quick.
No,
While I do
it
so,
was 60 when it came out on the
uh,
Switch. He might be
so
talking about
it,
something
no, no,
else.
no, no, no. I'm
No,
talking
it
about
means the PlayStation.
PlayStation and
Oh, okay.
Xbox and all that jazz. Is it 60 or 40? I'm gonna look it up and go ahead and say your thing. What your thoughts?
It's 40 at least. What I see here.
Sorry, what did you say?
Okay, there you go. No, he was saying it's 40 on PlayStation and Xbox.
Oh, okay, so
But I
it's
was saying
40.
it's a year old. It's a year old. It should be a year old, not two.
It's a year old, but we just got it. So,
No, I know. I bought it and it's
Mm.
amazing.
okay, okay.
Uh,
So, what your
well,
thoughts, Inai? I mean,
yeah,
yeah, Inai.
I
yeah.
thought I already spoke on it. What did we switch topics again?
So basically, why are they putting a game like? Why are they saying they? Capcom knows that Game Pass kind of like sale,
Oh,
which is
yeah,
why we
that
don't
Guap
see them
already
put.
answered that because the game is already old. So they were like, look, we're gonna make this much. It's much easier for Microsoft to cover the cost of a game that's already out and be like, look, you guys are gonna get this much sales from us.
Mhm.
We'll go over that what your estimation is, and can you guys put it on Game Pass, which will also still allow them to get sales if people decide they want to purchase the game, but not worry about the sales of the game. So that's why that happened.
Mhm.
It was an easy deal for Microsoft to recoup the cost. That's why you don't see so many other deals. That's why they're bitching right now about that whole we're in third place because they know the reality is from us purchase our purchasing power is much greater than theirs. So when PlayStation goes, "Hey, look, why don't you just bring this to our platform and we'll cover the cost of them motherfuckers that don't buy games." And then, the company's like, you know what, why not? Last time we only made 6% off of them. If you can cover 10%, we'll call it a deal. PlayStation's like, no fucking problem. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
But if Microsoft wanted to make a similar deal, they were like, well, them motherfuckers on PlayStation bought 70% last time. You gonna cover 70%? No. No, Microsoft is not going to do that. Despite this infinite check they think they got, they not about to cover 70% to bring something to Game Pass exclusively and keep it away from PlayStation because the bill is too big. You can't
Mhm.
we the people, we the PlayStation fans made sure that that bill was too big. They can't do that on a bunch of different games. Like
Yeah,
they don't have the capital. Like I said, everybody thinks it's infinite. It's not. There is a budget, just because it seems astronomical because
yeah.
we all work for a living.
Mhm.
It's not infinite, so they have a finite budget, and they're like, hey, look, this game is not worth that price.
Yeah, Infinite. Tell that to the people that got fired by Microsoft.
No,
Jesus Christ.
all good, Guap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
The
never
expansion
thought.
dropped about
Well,
4 to 6 months later when I had got it. I remember it came out. It came out in pretty good time, about 4 to 6
Mhm.
months.
yeah. By the way, shout out to you, Guap. I'm sure you were not doing it on purpose. Um,
But
with that,
yeah, I'd say yeah, you hit the nail on the head, and it because it's an old game. They can afford to put a day and date, as it were,
or a
on
game
Game
like
Pass.
Atomic Heart, where they don't know how it's gonna perform.
Well, yeah, that game's a good looking nobody is what that game is. Like
We were gonna see.
we have no idea
And,
what the potential of that game is actually going to be. Still,
yeah,
currently, nobody even knows what that game is. Like other than it's a first person shooter with that looks interesting, but we don't know. We
yeah,
don't. Is it Bioshock? Is it? You know.
I
you know.
I think I think a game like what we call it, the police game from level 5, not hitting Xbox speaks volume.
yeah. But that's kind of the funny thing. Like you said that Xbox fanboys are accusing PlayStation or Sony from being the reason of that. Like same with Octopath Travel. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't think Octopath did big enough numbers for Sony to say, oh yeah, we have to get that away from Xbox, right? It makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, if that were really true, then they would have made a deal with Square Enix, like, okay, yeah, look, I'm gonna pay for getting Octopath One on PlayStation, right? Because that's the only reason why it's on Xbox. Phil went there, he pulled his wallet, and said, like, yeah, okay, how much is gonna cost me to bring this game to Xbox? That's the only reason that's on there. And again, like with they've seen the numbers, and they it's like, okay, we're not gonna put that game on Xbox with these numbers. And maybe, I think I also said that before in the previous podcast, like there's going to be some sort of self-fulfilling prophecy there, where or expectation there, like they know that, okay, yeah, if Phil really wants this game, he's going to come back to Japan, he's going to, you know, give us a bag of money to put it there. So why should we put it there for free if he's going to come back for it?
See,
So
see, see what you just did there is funny because it's like the Game Pass problem in reverse. Now the devs are like, why put it over there in the first place? Because y'all don't account for shit for sales. But if we wait and make them come put it on Game Pass, they'll pay us to take our game away.
Mm.
So now the devs are waiting on Game Pass too. The irony, the irony. I love it.
So,
it's
with that being said, I think we have come to the end of the topics, unless have someone have anything else they want to say.
Nah, I'm all good.
Yeah, as always, shout out to Innate for what we call it, hosting. But here's the key: he doesn't only just host; he pay attention to what's on the screen, and if it's too boring, he skip it. Like with the combat, the gameplay that was shown for Callisto Protocol, it was a boring section. He skipped it and showed us something different. Like,
who are you talking about?
you,
He's talking about the
sorry?
video. He's talking about the video on the screen.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, because some of it, like, it's so much game footage that some of it is from games that have already come out, and I haven't been able to edit it entirely yet. So I'll just skip it if it's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's a key touch I truly appreciate. Because you're no longer just going through the ringer. You actually care about what's happening, and it's not even like your own channel or something like that. That's how I appreciate so much.
Yeah, no
And
doubt.
shout out to chat that came through. And yeah, about game player the name, I might. So here's the thing. I actually want to change it. Like we brought up a very important point. It's just I don't know how to do it in a way. So either by next week or the end of this month, we're gonna have a different name. And yeah, let's get to our outros. And Nate, where people can find you?
Yeah, just as usual on Twitter at the real innate. Um, on PlayStation, getting my wizardry on for a little bit, and getting my tactics on in Fire Emblem for a little bit, and like usual, man. Unlike some of these people, you can find me keeping it gaming.
Because you actually game.
Facts.
Weave, where people can find you.
You can find me on Twitter as the Weep Sheriff at Infinite Rhizome. You can also find me on YouTube, though I don't really have a channel, as you can see in the chat. Um, and Other Nation. And yes, as Omar said, we're going to change the name to Other Slayer. So
This dude. Okay, I actually wanted to change it to author donation, but I'm actually genuinely not sure what I'm gonna change it to. Hey, if anyone is interested, give me some suggestions. Hit me up in DMs. I follow
yeah,
most of you guys on Twitter, or just tag me, and
yeah,
I'm
because,
gonna
because
see what.
Omar is really, really bad at naming things.
Shout out to my niece. She is the one that named game players in the first place, which I truly like. We all play games. Most of us complete games. So yeah. With that being said, as for me, people can find me at Carbo_Chihab on Twitter and Vitamin G podcast every Monday 8 p.m. at the same time. Shout out to the crew over there. Shout out to everyone that came through. This was a great show. Shout out to the missing people, Kay, Morgan, and yeah, Derek joined in and then had to leave. And with that being said, have a nice day.
One time for the ladies, Otter Nation.
That's
All
his
nation.
job. He's here. Okay. You can end it